There was countless corner soul weed, and Yemo decisively stopped collecting more. He felt he collected enough. He turned and left the depth of the sea corner without hesitation. There was countless corner soul weed, and Yemo decisively stopped collecting more. He felt he collected enough. He turned and left the depth of the sea corner without hesitation. Before, he was really careful and was still hit by corner soul weed a few times, but now with his speed, he was completely fine. This further made Yemo realize the importance of spirit sense cultivation method. He had decided to find a complete spirit sense cultivation method to cultivate no matter what. His spirit sense cultivation method was completely learned from the three-eyed purple frog. It was incomplete and not very high level. If there was an extremely high-level spirit sense cultivation method, Yemo was certain he would be much better off in here, but there were too little people who knew spirit sense cultivation method. He had seen a few spirit sense attack cultivation artifact, but no one with spirit sense cultivation method. The only person worth doubting with that Jiao Qian. He was completely unaffected by the 12-pill king steps. Just when Yemo came back to the island, he saw a cultivator lurking at the border. Seeing Yemo, T-Hat cultivator immediately jumped up and came to Yemo. This was a cauldron-filling state level 3 female cultivator. She was extremely ugly. There were cuts all over her face. They had formed scabs and left worm-like lines all across her face. Even her hands and neck were covered in such wounds. Yemo looked at this and sighed. How could he not know this woman did this to herself? Even though her wounds could be healed with pills, she left them. Wanbei Jin Qianqin Greeki Qianbei. The female cultivator bowed respectfully. You stayed here waiting for me? Yemo asked. Yes, Wanbei is indeed waiting for Qianbei here. Please punish me, Qianbei. Jin Qianqin didn't seem scared at all. Yemo nodded. Why are you waiting for me? Speak. Wanbei dares to ask to collaborate with Qianbei. Jin Qianqin said. Hearing this, how could he not know what she meant? She was only cauldron-filling state level 3 and wasn't too old. She probably at most spent around 10 years. If it was someone like Gu Huzhou wanting to collaborate with him, he would be overjoyed, but a new cultivator like Jin Qianqin didn't interest him at all. If she was older, perhaps he would be happier, as that would mean she knew more about the sea corner. Jin Qianqin probably realized what Yemo thought, but she didn't seem scared at all and said, Qianbei wants the way out of here, not how long one has been staying at this island for. Some people stayed there for a few thousand years and never thought of leaving. Qianbei just came here for 2 weeks and wants to leave. She looked calmly at Yemo and continued. I believe you Qianbei know what Wanbei means. If it's a cultivator who doesn't want to leave, even if he stays here for 10,000 years, he isn't someone Qianbei wants to collaborate with. That's right. Yemo nodded. Tell me about your way. If you have some good way, I can collaborate with you. He was shook with this Jin Qianqin's acute mind. He had only seen such insight of Jingli. He met such a smart woman again. Like Jingli, they were both observative and ugly. Jin Qianqin said. The sea corner is actually an immortal formation and a high-level one. How do you know? Yemo asked in shock. Because my ancestor is an immortal formation master, a level 5 immortal formation great master. Jin Qianqin said. Yemo didn't answer. He would definitely not believe a level 5 immortal formation great master would appear in the cultivation realm. Chu Jiuyu was that powerful, but he was probably at most a level 1 immortal formation master. There was no immortal crystals. How could there be level 5 immortal formation great master? Jin Qianqin continued. There's no way there would be a level 5 immortal formation great master in the cultivation realm. My ancestor is an immortal. Although he was only a golden immortal, his formation skills are very high. He was forced to the cultivation realm to set up formation and seal. My ancestor knew he would be killed as soon as he was done with the formation, so when he set up the formation he said there was limitations by the cultivation realm, and he couldn't set up high-level formations. The person forcing my ancestor was powerful, but his formation skills weren't as good as my ancestor. He was too powerful and couldn't come to the cultivation realm, so he could only leave everything to my ancestor. Thus, my ancestor left loopholes everywhere on the formation. That person was only leaving something in the cultivation realm, and could only come down after 10,000 years. He didn't know what my ancestor did. My ancestor secretly set up an escape spirit formation after setting up that huge formation. Hearing this, Yemo thought of that Lu Jingquan and those seal flags. If an immortal formation master wanted to hide them, he couldn't do it. Was this done by this Jin Qianqing's ancestor? What's your ancestor's name? Is he still here? Yemo suddenly asked. Jin Qianqing looked at Yemo in confusion. Why did Yemo suddenly ask for her ancestor's name? This had nothing to do with going out. But she still answered. My ancestor's name is Jin Jinlin. He's no longer here. It was just a hollow immortal who killed him, but that hollow immortal didn't expect my ancestor to have set up escape spirit formation already and escaped with part of his essence spirit. When my ancestor got home, he knew he wouldn't be able to stay for long, so he resisted the disperse of his essence spirit, and spent a month to leave behind multiple jade slips. What did he leave behind? Yemo suddenly asked. Jin Qianqing frowned and said after a long while, That's my Jin family's belonging. I want to collaborate with Qianbei because I'm a level 7 formation grandmaster, so I can understand part of this immortal formation. But my power is limited and I can't leave here alone. Yemo knew that she meant she got the teachings of her ancestors' immortal formation knowledge, and thus knows some things about the sea corner. They could collaborate and go out, but the jade slips were her personal things. But Yemo wanted the jade slip her ancestor left behind. No matter how powerful his 3-birth chant, without the model for immortal formation, he wouldn't be able to imagine the ways to set up immortal formation. If he saw the real means of setting up immortal formation, he would be able to use 3-birth chant to create it. Yemo knew these things were extremely precious to Jin Qianqing, and she definitely wouldn't tell him this if it could be avoided. If she met a cruel cultivator, he would definitely kill her and take things. Seeing Yemo not talk, Jin Qianqing was also nervous. In here, she could only collaborate with Yemo. She had seen through the truth realization state cultivators here. If she revealed her secret, she would be killed. She came to Yemo because she could tell Luoying loved Yemo extremely. She warned the disaster transformation state level 2 before activating the attack formation. If Yemo was a cruel person, he wouldn't get the bone-etched love of such a woman. Jin Qianqing was prepared to self-destruct and destroy those jade slips with her if Yemo tried to force her. But little did she know she wouldn't even be able to do that. Jin Qianqing was prepared to self-destruct and destroy those jade slips with her if Yemo tried to force her. But little did she know she wouldn't even be able to do that. Just when she was extremely nervous, Yemo suddenly took out 15 corner soul weed and 2 jade bottles. I'll use these things to exchange your jade slips. No, not exchange, just let me make a copy, and when I leave I will still take you with me. She thought Yemo was about to attack, but he took out things to trade with her instead. She was thinking that if she didn't trade she would die anyways, but realized that Yemo gave her corner soul weed. Corner soul weed! Jin Qianqing called out in shock. Soon she found that they seemed very high quality, and there were 5 dark weed. How could she not know the value of corner soul weed? She had been here for a decade and long wanted one, but her ability was limited. She could only watch them come and go. But now Yemo gave her 15 and 5 were dark weed. In all her years here, she hadn't even seen corner soul weed that were as good quality as Yemo's, much less dark weed. Jin Qianqing subconsciously grabbed a dark weed. The snow-white dark weed landed in her hand and gave her an extreme sense of pleasure coming from the depth of her soul. Just how many corner soul weed did he get here? This was her first time seeing a cultivator able to catch dark weed and catch so many too. Even if Yemo just gave her 1 dark weed, she would be willing to trade. Since Yemo was planning to trade, it meant he didn't abuse the weak. Plus, Yemo just wanted a copy of it. Qianbei, I'm willing to exchange as long as Qianbei is willing to take my away from here. Jin Qianqing tried to calm herself down, but she couldn't. Yemo nodded. Of course, but there's life-threatening danger in leaving here. You need to prepare. Qianbei, Wanbei knows, even if I die here I'm willing to go with Qianbei. Jin Qianqing said with certainty. Yemo nodded. He was very happy with her attitude. If it was 2 weeks ago, there would be danger of dying, but now, it was completely fine. Those lethal corner soul weed to other cultivators were just spirit sense cultivation treasures for Yemo. Jin Qianqing took out 6 jade slips and gave it to Yemo. These are the jade slips my ancestor left behind, please copy them, Qianbei. Yemo nodded and took out blank jade slips. Jin Qianqing carefully put the 15 corner soul weed in 15 jade boxes before looking at the 2 jade bottles. Disaster life pill? True spirit pill. Jin Qianqing was completely dumbfounded. Yemo's status rose in her heart drastically again. This truth realization state Qianbei seemed much younger than her, but he was extremely powerful, and this wealthy. Thank you, Qianbei. Jin Qianqing bowed to Yemo. She completely trusted Yemo now. Yemo nodded and put away the copied jade slips and handed back the original to Jin Qianqing. Qianbei, according to my guess, there are countless tidal flows in this immortal formation. If we just control one rule, we can find a formation door of this formation. Jin Qianqing said. Yemo asked her. Do you know one of the rules? Jin Qianqing shook her head. I haven't found one yet, but even the most patient person would need 50 to 100 years. Yemo frowned. He didn't think she was wrong. She was level 7 formation Grandmaster, and definitely wouldn't make a mistake in judgment here. He didn't think he would be able to find the rule in an extremely short time. Even with the help of the 3-birth chant, he would need 2 or 3 decades, but he definitely couldn't wait a few decades here before going out. Seeing Yemo frown, Jin Qianqing said, Yi Qianbei, don't worry, although I haven't found the rule, someone on the island probably has. Who? Yemo blurted out. Jin Qianqing heard this and knew Yemo was more desperate to go out than her. It's the Xian brothers at the marketplace. They also really wanted to leave the city. If it wasn't that their power is too low and can't stop the corner soul weed, I would want to collaborate with them. I suspect that they knew one of the rules, but they didn't go to Qianbei when Qianbei made the public notice because they are waiting. I'm certain that if Qianbei went back to the Sea Corner City, they would come asking for collaboration immediately. They saw people daring to charge to Qianbei's home in Sea Corner City and thought Qianbei was... Yemo interrupted her and said coldly, Someone dares to barge into my place? Yes, but that cultivator was killed by formation. Jin Qianqing didn't even finish and saw Yemo dashing to the city and disappeared. Jin Qianqing quickly followed. As soon as he came to the city, he saw one cauldron filling state level 5 outside the formation. He was very respectful and said, 2 goddesses, my family estate lord is holding an auction, please come by. No need, thank you, please go. Luo Ying's pale voice sounded. My family lord even set up spirit fruit feast and came to invite the 2 goddess. If you 2 don't go, it's hard for me to get back. The cauldron filling state kept talking. At this moment, Yemo came out with a smile. Seeing this, that cultivator's heart was throbbing with excitement. He thought he succeeded. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Since you can't go back, then you don't need to. Then, a cultivation essence giant hand slapped over. Hearing Yemo's voice, that cauldron-filling state was scared soulless, and before he could react, he was smashed to a bloody mist. You're back. Luo Ying knew Yemo would be fine, but she was still worried. Brother Yi, you're back. Jia Yokoi also ran out in joy. Yemo held Luo Ying's hand and said, let's go in first. Jia Yokoi said, These 2 days have been annoying. That house lord sends a cultivator to talk here every day about some auction or some spirit fruit if asked. Yemo sneered. That family lord thought using such placid means would mean he wouldn't do anything to him. But that family lord is blind. If he was so easy to mess with, he would have long been devoured. There was no reason here. If he wasn't some cultivator who could kill Feng Xian, that family lord wouldn't use such means. He would have came out to take them by force. Many people saw that cauldron-filling state was just sending an invitation and was killed. This Yemo was too murderous. Many of them started to leave, fearing they would offend this slaughter god. Many people were laughing. That truth realization state level 4 family lord was over. Many didn't Yemo to have come back. Just now, a figure came up to them. It was a fat white-faced cultivator. He smiled and saluted with his fists. Brother Yi, Peng Huiyang has long heard of your name, and I set up a spirit fruit feast today. Please come over. Yemo stopped him. The cauldron-filling state I just killed belonged to you. The family lord who comes here to pester us is you too. Yemo stopped him. The cauldron-filling state I just killed belonged to you. The family lord who comes here to pester us is you too. Yes, my man didn't know how to talk. Thanks for taking him out for me. I wanted to connect to Brother Yi through the two goddess. Brother Yi, please. The fat cultivator didn't even finish, and he felt his body go cold. His face changed. Before he could break free, a purple flame surrounded him and a terrifying howl sounded. The scream disappeared in the flames. When the flames disappeared, the fat figure was gone. There wasn't even storage ring left. Wang Jing, who watched on the side and sweated cold. Not long ago he was annoyed at Peng Huiyang for not playing by the rules. The three truth realization state tertiary stage masters still haven't made a move yet, and he dared to attack first, but now this annoyance was gone. Yemo was back and killed another truth realization state middle stage in a second. Peng Huiyang couldn't even resist. Wang Jing barely calmed himself down and flew up to Yemo, saluted with his fists. Brother Yi, that Peng Huiyang was asking to die and I was about to take him out, but Brother Yi came back. Yemo glanced at him and Wang Jing subconsciously froze, but he heard Yemo say plainly, "Piss off." Wang Jing's face froze. He didn't expect Yemo to be this rude. Was he wrong to come say hello? Even though his edges had been rubbed smooth, Wang Jing still felt insult. Since when was a truth realization state level 9 insulted like this? He felt his face go hot and his anger, but when looked at Yemo's eyes again, his anger froze. He knew that if they fought in no more than 10 seconds there would no longer be Wang Jing in this world. Realizing this, Wang Jing saluted with his fists and flew off. Wang Jing was hiding on the side and still came out to say such pretty words. Such cultivators was set to die old here. Yemo couldn't even be bothered talking to this two-faced guy. Jin Qianqing happened to get here and see Yemo tell Wang Jing to piss off, and Wang Jing didn't dare to say anything. She immediately felt quite satisfied. Not only her but the cultivators on the side also felt satisfied. There were so many of them oppressed by Wang Jing and Feng Xian. "Qian Bei," Jin Qianqing called. Yemo nodded. "Go in first." "Luckily I said to wait. That Yi Qian Bei is powerful indeed, but he went to the sea corner depth to catch corner soulweeds." Sigh. Xian sighed. Xian, she didn't expect a person as dominant as Yemo would go into the depth of the sea corner and not come back. At this moment, he almost admired Brother Ye's perceptions. "But brother, wouldn't this mean we would never be able to go out?" Xian, she said in discontent. "If we still can't find someone to collaborate with in another 10 years, we'll go try ourselves." "I really don't want to die in this place." Xian shook his head. "Then why?" Xian, she asked in confusion. He had to persuade his brother for a long while before his brother agreed to collaborate with Yemo, but now it seemed his brother had long wanted to find someone to cooperate. Xian said heavily. Xian, you don't understand. That Yi Qian Bei is very murderous. He came and killed quite a few people already, even Vice City Lord Feng Xian. If we collaborate with someone like that, we can get pulverized if we don't do it right. But that Feng Xian deserves to die. I'm too weak, but if I was stronger I would have killed him already. He took Ma Yu's wife and killed him. Ma Yu's wife suicided too. So what if he killed such a person? Xian, she said. Xian shook his head. I'm not saying Yemo was wrong to kill Feng Xian, but he kills so easily. If we provide something of no value he might immediately kill us. We just know some rules about the movement of corner soulweed and the tide in some areas. Who knows if this would be useful in going out? Xian just finished and got up. Xian, she got up. Clearly they saw the hustling outside. The two quickly got out and saw cultivators gathered together. What happened? Xian, she squeezed over and asked. Peng Huiyang's cultivation home was robbed. It's taken by another disaster transformation state level 9 now. One body condensation state said casually. Isn't Peng Qianbei truth realization state middle stage? Xian asked carefully. The cultivator turned around in contempt. Truth realization state middle stage? He was long annihilated by Yi Qianbei, in a second, no less than a second. He doesn't use his brain, even Feng Xian was annihilated by Yi Qianbei. He's a mere truth realization state level 4, and he dares to act up at Yi Qianbei's cultivation home. This is asking for death? What? Yi Qianbei is back? Xian asked in joy. Then, the two looked at each other. The cultivator said loudly, how can Yi Qianbei be in trouble? Yi Qianbei's all-powerful, the Mercy corner. The Xian brothers had disappeared already, however. At this moment, Yemo held a jade slip in contemplation. He didn't expect the demon prison Forbidden Grounds seal was really set up by Jin Jinlin. He was forcefully taken to Luoyu cultivation realm by Lu Jingquan to set up seal and demon prison Forbidden Grounds formation. The main reason was because he immortal ascended from Luoyu continent and knew demon prison Forbidden Grounds very well. Yemo also realized why he would have the chance to break another seal flag after breaking one already. It was cultivation resources he left for his descendants. He left loopholes in all the seal flags, including the blue stone road and stone tablet. The jade slip clearly said if his descendants didn't reach truth realization state level 9 and level 9 formation Grandmaster peak, they must not touch the seal flag. If they reached this level, the seal flag wouldn't explode. Only those with Jin family bloodline could use the jade slip he left behind to open the seal at Demon Prison Forbidden Grounds, and then take the immortal crystals here. He said many times for the Jin family descendants to not touch Qingxing in the depth of the abyssal river. Jin Jinlin even thought of ways to avoid the sand soul beasts, but what confused Yemo was that he didn't mention spirit-devouring bugs at all. He told the family to immediately head to Gonghua Heaven and most not go Yuheng Heaven. From his jade slip, Yemo realized there were 33 heavens in the immortal realm. Yuheng and Gonghua were just two of them. Each heaven domain had a heaven lord. Lu Jingquan was Yuheng heaven lord. It also recorded some rules and powers of the immortal realm. Yemo didn't have the mood to look at them now. The rest of the 5 jade slips were about formation. It talked about level 1 to level 5 immortal formation. There were models too. Yemo looked at it and knew he would need to spend at least a few years to study them. Yemo believed Jin Qianqing's words and believed the sea corner was an immortal formation. But now that he had a chance to study the immortal formation, he wasn't going to rest his hopes on her. At this moment, his spirit sense scanned the Xian brothers. Jin Qianqing clearly saw them too and immediately said to Yemo, Yi Qianbei, the two people outside at the Xian brothers. If I'm not wrong, they came after hearing Qianbei was back. Yemo nodded and took out a communication bead to Jia Yokui. Yokui, give these to them, tell them to wait, I will let them know when I go. Yemo didn't know what the tide flow meant yet. He had to study the jade slips first and decided if he would need the two brothers. If not, he wasn't going to be a goody-goody in here. When Yemo set up the spirit sense barrier formation, he went into his golden page world and took out the time formation disc. Without it, he wouldn't be able to finish studying immortal formation in a short time. When Yemo set up the spirit sense barrier formation, he went into his golden page world and took out the time formation disc. Without it, he wouldn't be able to finish studying immortal formation in a short time. Sister Qianqing, did you do this to your face purposely? Jia Yokui looked at the hideous Jin Qianqing and asked. She had been here for a while and knew the situation here. Jin Qianqing nodded. Yes, if I didn't do this I would have long died. You're lucky you came with Yi Qianbei. If you came alone like me, a tragic fate would await you. The most terrifying cultivator in the city isn't Feng Xian but that Wang Jing. He's bad in the shadows. Feng Xian is bad overtly. Wang Jing is more vicious than Feng Xian. Everyone thinks that Feng Xian is the worst, but he isn't. How do you know? Jia Yokui asked in confusion. Jin Qianqing thought and said, I'm a level 7 Grandmaster, and in order to leave here I often watch the rhythm of the tide at the border of the island. I'm very careful, and I usually set up a stealth formation. One day, I saw Wang Jing come here with his Dao partner. I thought they were going to hunt for corner soulweed, but then I knew they weren't. Wang Jing ambushed his Dao partner from behind and killed her. Huh? Jia Waiokui said in shock and immediately said, there must be a conflict between them. No. Jin Qianqing shook her head. That female cultivator was disaster transformation state. She went to Wang Jing on her own accord and became his Dao partner. She was very obedient to him. There's no way they had conflict. Plus I know why Wang Jing killed that female cultivator. He said something before he killed her. What did he say? Jia Waiokui asked desperately. Even Luoying wanted to know. There was disgust in Jin Qianqing's eyes. That Wang Jing is worse than a dog. He killed her and said, you waste too much of my spirit stones. You need 10 spirit stones to cultivate every day, so I have no choice but to send you off. Huh? Jia Yokui was in disbelief, killing his Dao partner for 10 spirit stones a day? 10 spirit stones wasn't enough to recover cultivation essence for a disaster transformation state cultivator. This was unimaginable that a truth realization state cultivator would do this. Worse than a pig. Even Luoying frowned and cursed. Jin Qianqing shook her head. This isn't the worst. The worst is that he pretended he was heavily injured and came back to the city holding a massive funeral for his Dao partner, grieving that she died in the corner soulweed. He said he was heavily injured trying to save his Dao partner. He would trade his life for his Dao partners. I'll ask Brother Yi to kill this animal. Jia Yokui got up angrily. Yemo was studying immortal formation in the time formation disk, and it's been a year, and Yemo finally understood what tide flow was. It was a type of immortal formation flags positioning. Using the environment to change the location of the formation flag while using these positions to change the formation. It was a common method of immortal formations. No wonder Jin Qianqing said that one must know the rule of the tide flow to go out. If you could find one of the rules, you could find a formation flag and use that to calculate the position of the second formation flag. This was like the Sand River in West Extreme State. If he found one seal flag, he could find the second one. But the tide flow was a changing rule, so 50 years wasn't just bare minimum time needed to find it. Thinking how the Xian brothers were only less than 500 years old and both body condensation state, could they really find the rule? If they didn't, then Yemo knew he would have to find it himself. It wasn't practicable for Yemo to spend a few decades to watch it. Yemo was worried that since this palsy was an immortal formation, it would be very hard to tear open space here. The only way was to find the formation door, Yemo sighed. Even if the Xian brothers knew the tide flow route, Jin Qianqing was unreliable. She only could tell this was an immortal formation, but she was just a level 7 formation grandmaster. It was impossible for her to find the way out of the immortal formation. It seemed he still needed to rely on himself. Yemo focused his mind and completely devoted himself to studying immortal formation, and even took out immortal crystals for experiments. The city calmed down, and no one dared to go near Yemo's place to walk around. A month later, the time formation disk stopped moving and Yemo happened to wake up at this time. He looked at the used-up spirit stones. He didn't dare to believe he was in solitary cultivation for 9 years. He used at most this much time to reach from level 1 formation master to level 9 formation grandmaster, and yet he used this much time to reach level 1 immortal formation master. Luckily, it would be faster to reach level 2 immortal formation master from now. The immortal formation means were completely different to the cultivation realm formation means. Of course, everyone had different means based on their understanding of formation. Yemo was just using the formation theory of Jin Jinlins and birthed his own formation means, but it was a bit hard as he hadn't been in the immortal realm. Yemo walked out of the room and found only Luoying was studying pills. Jin Qianqing and Jia Yokoi weren't here. Seeing Yemo come out, Luoying quickly got up and said, "You're doing looking at those things?" "Yes, I have an approximate understanding. We can go out." "Where's Yokoi and Jin Qianqing?" Yemo held Luoying's hand and asked. Yokoi was bored and asked Jin Qianqing to go with her to the market. Luoing said. Yemo was speechless. There was no point in going there. There was no good things. Here he casually put away his cultivation artifact cultivation home and was prepared to leave here. Before Yemo made a notice, Jin Qianqing, Jia Yokoi and the Xian brothers were here. They immediately acted me up to greet Yemo. Xian. He was robust and seemed innocent, but he was very cunning. He said without need Yemo to ask, "My brother and I have been here for 90 years. Ever since we got here we've been thinking of all ways to go out. We're weak, but we know some of the rules of how the corner soulweed move in the southeast direction and some of the tide times at the island. Southeast?" Yemo repeated. There was no sense of direction here. How did they know? Xian, she said in embarrassment. Yiqian Bei, we just set up the directions ourselves in order to convenience our observations. Good method. Yemo raised his thumb. But there was a flaw in this way. Using experience to judge may result in error. The compass used formation to point the way, but compasses didn't work here. This made Yemo think of a thing that wouldn't point with formation. He took out an exquisite hairbrush. Brother, you have a brush? Jia Yokoi could tell it was for girls to use. Yemo saw Luoing come over and smiled apologetically to her. I met a girl near Flowing Snake called Shiwan Qing. She went missing in Luoyu continent. Yemo saw Luoing come over and smiled apologetically to her. I met a girl near Flowing Snake called Shiwan Qing. She went missing in Luoyu continent. Yemo sighed. He was worried about where Shiwan Qing went. Luoing was a little uncomfortable, but hearing this explanation, she immediately said, I know Shiwan Qing. She came over with Sister Yuehua, but we don't know where she is. We need to go find her if we have the time. Yemo's tone was dejected. I didn't find her in North Far State nor West Extreme State. South Peace State is too big. I believe if she is in South Peace State she would have been able to hear about MOU City. She didn't come over. I'm afraid she isn't in South Peace State. Luoing went up and held his hand. Don't worry, just like me, I had been in Black Eye sect cultivating and never cared about what happened outside. If I wasn't with Beiwei I wouldn't even know you were at South Peace State. Maybe Shiwan Qing is like me, she would be able to come to MOU City when she is strong enough. Yemo nodded. She gave me this hairbrush, there's a telephone number on it. It's also a military compass. Oh, this is a compass? Jia Yokoi squeezed over looking at the small thing embedded in the hairbrush. Luoing smiled. Yes, it always points to the south. So this direction is south? Jia Yokoi pointed at the small pointer. Yemo shook his head. Not necessarily, this compass is made based on magnetic field theory. The direction it points on Luoyu isn't necessarily south, but the direction wouldn't change and it wouldn't be affected by the formation here like the formation compass. Seeing Yemo take out something that could point directions, Xian walked over nervously. Yiqian Bei, then we. Yemo waved his hand. Your experience is very good. I'm willing to collaborate with you guys. Let's go together. Then Yemo released Blue Moon. Get on, we'll leave the sea corner now. As soon as Blue Moon activated, a dashing light came. Yemo looked at the person. Brother Gu, are you coming with us? Gu Hijo shook his head. I know I don't have a way to persuade you to stay. Many cultivators who thought they could leave left and there was no news of them ever again. Then cultivators who came in again say they didn't make it out. I can only wish you success, Brother Yi, take care. Gu Hijo admired Yemo greatly for being able to come back from the depth of the sea corner, but he didn't think Yemo could get out. Gu Hijo thought of his own life too seriously. Yemo was planning to give him a bottle of pills before he left, but when Peng Huiyang sent people to harass Luoing and Jia Yokoi he didn't even come help. Yemo laughed. In that case I'm going, take care. Then Blue Moon disappeared from the city. Seeing this, there was a faint sense of regret. He couldn't describe it, he felt that he should have gone with Yemo. Seeing this, Wang Jing breathed easy. His face was gloomy, but pity he knew that even if Yemo slapped his face he wouldn't be able to do anything to Yemo. He glared at Gu Hijo. If he didn't always spend his time in the sea corner, he would want to take revenge on him. Blue Moon didn't fly very far and stopped at the border of the island. Yemo took out a jade slip to Xiany. Inscribe the rule you know and the title situation. Xiany handed a jade slip he prepared already to Yemo. Qian Bei, I've already recorded it, please have a look. Yemo nodded. He was very happy with this Xiany. Countless years and countless cultivators had been trapped here. Some of them would know more than the Xian brothers, but none of them made it out. Even the Xian brothers might eventually die of old age or to the corner soulweed here. Compared to them, at least they tried to go out. These more powerful cultivators like Wang Jing had a sliver of chance, but if they'd given up the will to go out, they killed that last line of hope for themselves. Yemo looked at the jade slip and checked it out himself before giving it to Jin Qianqing. Then, he controlled Blue Moon to flying slowly into the depth. The Xian brothers have always been watching here and could tell that Yemo was flying towards the direction they found through the rule and rejoiced. At least the news they provided was useful. But soon, they felt something wrong. Blue Moon went faster and faster, eventually it was faster than extreme-grade cultivation artifact. Seeing this, their hearts hung up and even regretted. This Yi Qian Bei didn't buy into anyone at the city due to his power, and even in here he was this impulsive. The corner soulweed wouldn't care who you are. If they continued like this, they would be killed by the corner soulweed. Now, they were flying far from the direction they studied. Regardless if Yemo was seeking death, the Xian brothers knew they wouldn't be able to leave even if they studied here for 1,000 years. Thinking about this, they just admitted to fate. Jin Qianqing was also completely lost too. Yemo was overjoyed, however. He found that the Xian brothers' rule only applied to a few hundred kilometers and they weren't able to leave here with that. But soon he found that the compass pointed in the direction of the corner soulweed flow. The tidal flow was completely useless. This meant he didn't even need to look at their jade slip, and just keep flying using the compass. What shook Yemo was that he found when heading in this direction, no matter how fast he was, no corner soulweed came over. Sometimes the corner soulweed was clearly about to ram into Blue Moon, but it suddenly changed direction. An ordinary cultivator would be overjoyed, but Yemo was annoyed. He was planning to collect more corner soulweed on the way, but he couldn't catch even one. Yemo kept changing directions, but he was only following the compass as the needle kept changing directions. An ordinary compass had such effect. Yemo was overjoyed. Soon the brothers and Jin Qianqing found that no matter how fast Yemo went, they didn't smash into corner soulweed no matter what. The Xian brothers were overjoyed. It seemed Yi Qian Bei really knew how to get out. Jin Qianqing admired Yemo even more. She knew from Jiayokui that Yemo was a level 9 formation grandmaster, and now Yemo used just 9 days looking at the jade slips left behind by her ancestor, and found a way out. Yemo didn't think so. He felt this wasn't just a formation, he would rather think this was a high-level natural formation than an immortal formation. The sea corner didn't seem big when they came in, but when they left it seemed huge. 1 day later, Blue Moon turned 180 degrees and kept flying as though they were flying back. Yi Qian Bei, are we going around in circles here? Jin Qianqing finally couldn't resist asking. No, Yemo said affirmatively. He was taken directionless by the compass, but he knew they weren't going around in circles. No, Yemo said affirmatively. He was taken directionless by the compass, but he knew they weren't going around in circles. This was more than one. Blue Moon had turned 180 degrees. Other than Luoing, the rest of the people were starting to think Blue Moon was going in circles. On the 4th day, a huge coral appeared before them. Only now did they realize that Blue Moon really didn't go in circles. But Yemo soon found that even if Blue Moon left this coral, the compass was pointing here. This meant that he would still be brought back here. Everyone else realized this problem and looked at Yemo. Yemo carefully released his spirit sense out and checked before saying, "This isn't necessarily an immortal formation. Even if it is, it wouldn't be lower than level 6. This isn't something we can break out of." Huh? Jin Qianqing was dumbfounded. This meant that even if her ancestor was here, they might not be able to get out. Yemo put away Qi Wanqing's brush and said, The sea corner is probably a sealed-off dimension. If you want to leave, you would have to tear open space. Hearing this, they looked at each other. Tear open space? To be able to tear open the space in the cultivation realm, one must be more powerful than Hollow Immortal. Was this something a cultivation realm cultivator could do? And even if you're extremely powerful, you wouldn't be able to tear open space at other places. The only possibility is here. Emo pointed at the coral. His power was beyond Hollow Immortal and had been to the Void Fissure. Emo continued. This space isn't necessarily to another realm. It might quite possibly lead to the Heartless Sea, but the stability of this space is no lower than any void space. Brother Yi, how do you know? If we really need to tear open space, what do we do? My dad said those cultivators who can tear open space are very rare powerful beings. Jiayokoi said. Emo smiled and didn't know how to reply. He had a feeling that outside here was the Heartless Sea, but he couldn't explain this. If it wasn't for the compass, we wouldn't be able to come here, but now that we are, I can try. Emo saw the other people except Luoying look at him in confusion, clearly not thinking he would be able to tear open space. Emo signaled everyone to go into Blue Moon and threw out a few formation flags. He set up acceleration formation and then used all of his cultivation essence and spirit sense and grabbed. Ripples invisible to the eye spread out and Blue Moon shaked. Everyone felt the surroundings shake as though Blue Moon was about to fall into an endless abyss. The space was shaking greater and greater until there was a low humming sound. Emo's face grew more and more pale. He thought since Chujuyu could tear open space he would be fine, but now that he tried, he realized how hard it was. Luckily, he could still feel the space barrier. Weaker cultivators wouldn't even be able to feel it. Open! Emo roared and a light crack sounded. A black crevice was torn open by Emo. Before they could react, Emo took Blue Moon and darted in through the acceleration formation. Then, Blue Moon disappeared and the Void Fissure closed. A mere truth realization state level 8 little guy is already absurd enough to be able to find here. I didn't expect he would be able to tear open the dimensional barrier here. A blue-robed cultivator appeared on the rock when Blue Moon disappeared. There seemed to be a binding on him that even Spirit Sense couldn't see, making him unable to leave here. After a long while, he laughed. Jueya, you can't blame me. He found here himself, and before I even woke up he tore open the space barrier. You are to blame yourself. This space barrier can't even stop a truth realization state level 8. Hee, I'll pretend I saw nothing and go back to sleep. Heartless Sea, this is the Heartless Sea. Xiany looked at the sea surface and breathed the spirit chi-filled air. The Xian brothers and Jin Qianqing were ready to die with Emo, but they really succeeded. Yi Qianbei, I didn't expect you to be able to leave the sea corner so easily. Jin Qianqing, thank you for saving my life. Jin Qianqing was shaking with emotions. After their excitement, Xiany kneeled down to Emo. Yi Qianbei, Wanbei's life is yours now. If you don't mind us, Wanbei will go back and bring my wife to follow Qianbei. Emo approved of Xiany's meticulous and careful attitude, but he didn't want them to follow. He let them get up and said, I just casually helped, plus you guys helped a lot too. I thought we brothers were going to die at the sea corner, but Qianbei left so easily. Xiany was too excited. Easy? If he didn't have their experience, Jin Qianqing's jade slip and Qi Wenqing's brush, would he be able to leave? Even if that was all satisfied, Emo didn't know that if the blue-robed guy wanted to stop him, he wouldn't be able to get out as well. It seemed easy to others when he tore open the dimension, but he was God state body refinement. His cultivation essence was on par with Hollow Immortal Cultivator. Even so, he almost spat blood tearing the barrier open. Only Luoying knew Emo's hardship and quietly asked him, Are you okay? I'm fine, just some cultivation essence backlash, I'll be good. Emo patted Luoying's hand. He knew that Luoying seemed to calm us, but her emotions to him were on par in intensity, as Ning Qingxue. She always hid the intensity in front of others. Where is Qianbei going? Xian, she wanted to follow Emo even more. Solo cultivators like them would have much better cultivation environment if they found a good sect. Emo was a master he had never seen before, and his temperament was super. Those two truth realization state level 9 in the city were trash compared to him. Emo smiled. I'm going to East Black State. If you're going to East Black State, I can take you there. If you want to go South Peace State, you can come with me too. After I'm done with East Black State, I'll be going back to South Peace State. Before they replied, Jin Qianqing bowed. Qianbei, Wanbei wishes to follow Qianbei back to South Peace State. Emo waved his hand. No problem. After I'm done with East Black State, we can go back together. We might even take the teleportation formation back. Xian, she said excitedly. Qianbei, we're going to East Black State. My big brother needs to pick up his wife. If Qianbei is willing, we will follow Qianbei back to South Peace State together. South Peace State spirit, she was so much better than East Black State. Xian, she knew that their power was quite good at East Black State, but it was nothing at South Peace State. Of course, I have a city in South Peace State called Mou City. You can settle there. Emo agreed without hesitation. I know where this is, Jiayokui said. This is the east side of Lost Soul Ruins. A little bit down is Mai Zhuyin Island, Jiayokui said desperately and looked at Emo. Clearly she wanted to go check it out. This is the east side of Lost Soul Ruins. A little bit down is Mai Zhuyin Island, Jiayokui said desperately and looked at Emo. Clearly she wanted to go check it out. Emo didn't expect to come to here. Everyone looked back. There was no sign of Sea Corner. The Sea Corner was indeed everywhere. No one would know where it would appear. Yokui, lead the way. We'll go see Zhuyin Island. Emo knew what Jiayokui meant and said. This was the first time coming to Zhuyin Island, but Emo approved of Jiafeng greatly. He didn't know what it looked like before, but it definitely wasn't like this. The island was full of craters and there was a few huge ravines showing that the spirit range here was taken away. Jiayokui flew onto the island and started crying at the ruins. She had been living here for a few decades, but now it turned into this. Her father wasn't not known if alive, and so were her sisters. Luoying and Jin Qianqing went down to comfort her. Emo and Xian brothers came down too. From the position of the island, Emo could tell it was definitely an extremely good place to cultivate in the Heartless Sea. However, this Uzesian was really cruel, damaging it like this. I'm going to get revenge with that woman. Jiayokui couldn't hold the anger in her heart and clenched her fists. But Emo felt Jiafeng wasn't necessarily killed by Uzesian. He hadn't seen Jiafeng fight, but he knew Jiafeng wasn't simple. He was definitely no match for Uzesian, but it was quite possible he was able to escape from her. Jiayokui asked Emo to seal the island with a formation and at essence blood verification, allowing only people from the Jia family to enter. Then she left a jade slip inside, tell her family to go look for her at South Peace State Mou City. Emo was originally planning to look for trouble with Uzesian, but now that she said this, she would lose motivation to cultivate if he annihilated Ping Island. He would teach the spirit sense cultivation method to Jiayokui. As for if she would be strong enough to take on Uzesian, Emo knew that despite Uzesian being powerful, he believed that Jiayokui wouldn't be weaker than her after his tutelage. It was probably impossible for Jiayokui to get revenge in the cultivation realm, as she probably ascended already, but at least Jiayokui could go annihilate her Ping Island. Blue Moon sped up after leaving the island, and the Xian brothers finally realized that Blue Moon was at its max speed before. With such speed, it probably wouldn't take long from East Black State to South Peace State. They were guessing what level Blue Moon was, half immortal artifact or immortal artifact? Blue Moon howled past, the spirit beasts on the side long hid away seeing Blue Moon's speed. Good flying magic artifact was eye-catching, but if it was too good, it would make people scared. Without enough power, who would dare to waltz around the Heartless Sea with it? The Xian brothers didn't stay inside to rest, they stood on the deck the entire month. Their hearts were filled with excitement, and this indescribable feeling. When they came to the Heartless Sea, they had to be careful, fearing they would be caught by high-level cultivators or spirit beasts. But now, they arrogantly howled past in the sky without hiding at all. This was power. They couldn't describe their admiration for EMO with words. They had made up their mind to follow EMO to South Peace State to cultivate. There were a few high-level spirit beasts and even a level 11 spirit beast as well as few truth realization state cultivators, but none dared to stop Blue Moon. They wouldn't even be able to stop it in the first place as well. A month later, 6 cultivators acme to a south coastal city of East Black State. 3 men and 3 women. They were Yemo and them, and they arrived at Shitong City. They came here because the Xian brothers had a merchant association here. They were finding resources here all the time, and when they were strong enough they just set up their own merchant association. The 2 left the city in adventure and accidentally went into the sea corner. Big brother, why did Ishi Merchant Association change names? Xian, she looked at the Gung Mei Merchant Association sign and asked. Xian frowned. They had been out for 100 years, but in the cultivation realm there were cases where the owner of the merchant association had been gone for more than 1,000 years. Go in and ask. Xian frowned. They weren't there, but there were their men. His Dao partner would manage this place too. Something must have happened. Xian and Xian, she walked in, but it was an attendant. They didn't know who greeted them. Xian dazed and immediately asked, "Where is the owner of this merchant association?" Seeing Xian was much more stronger than him, he said politely, "Friend, if you need anything you can ask me." Xian 11 asked, "Isn't this place Ishi Merchant Association? Why did it become Gung Mei Merchant Association?" The attendant quickly said, "The name was changed by the boss. I don't know why the change occurred." Xian and Xian 11 glanced at each other and said, "Call out your owner or we will smash this place." "Yes, I'll call immediately." The attendant quickly sent a message. After a long while, 2 cultivators got down, 1 male, 1 female. The male immediately looked at Luoying and his eyes couldn't move again. Yemo frowned. He was very annoyed. "Lu Shuanging, what happened? Why are you in my shop? When did my shop become yours?" Xian, she cursed. This Lu Shuanging was their enemy. The cultivator only now saw Xian 11 and his face changed. His eyes blinked, not knowing what to say. "Brother!" Xian, she just realized that Xian Yi's hands were bursting with veins as he stared at that female cultivator. He reacted and called, "Sister-in-law! You guys are back." The female cultivator said bitterly and didn't do anything. Yemo heard Xian she say that his brother and sister-in-law's relationship was very good. Xian was thinking of his wife everywhere, but they came back and met in such a way. Xian Y's face was green and after a moment he spat blood. Xian, she quickly held him. "Brother, are you okay? Even if the merchant association is taken away, we can take it back. Plus, we don't need it now. We're going with Yi Qian Bei to South Peace State. We don't need this shitty merchant association? Nothing to be angry about." Xian didn't say anything. This female cultivator was his Dao partner Wu Mei. They had been together for 100 years. How could he not know her? Her ears were red and breathing heavy. This meant she just had sex with someone else. She was like this every time they had sex. He didn't come back for 100 years and this happened. How could he not be furious? This was a huge irony to their past affection. "Wu Mei, very well, very well." Xian Yi's hands were shaking uncontrollably. That woman who kept saying she couldn't leave him at all, the woman who thought for him about everything, not only gave his shop away but to his enemy. Xian 11 immediately realized that Lu Shuanging not only took their shop and got together with sister-in-law. This made Xian she burst out in fury and released his magic artifact. In that instant, Xian she's magic artifact shot a dark ray at Lu Shuanging. He was body condensation state level 7, Xian she was only body condensation state level 4. He definitely was no match for Lu Shuanging. In that instant, Xian she's magic artifact shot a dark ray at Lu Shuanging. He was body condensation state level 7, Xian she was only body condensation state level 4. He definitely was no match for Lu Shuanging. Seeing this, Lu Shuanging sneered. He wasn't scared of Xian 11 at all. He stayed at the same power while he reached body condensation state level 7. A mere body condensation state middle stage dared to fight him, a body condensation state tertiary stage. He released a dark ring. In his eyes the Xian brothers were lonely ghosts. Since they got caught in his hands he wasn't going easy. He sneered. Xian Shi, I slept your woman, so what? He was about to release his magic artifact, but then he opened his mouth in shock. He found he completely couldn't move and could only watch as Xian Shi's magic artifact loomed over him. At this moment, how could Xian Shi not know Yemo was helping him? He fully activated his magic artifact without any defense. The female cultivator on the side also realized something was wrong. He was hoping Lu Xuangang would kill the brothers and she wouldn't feel guilty, but now she saw Lu Xuangang couldn't move. She quickly called. Stop, he's 8-star sect Chongqing sect's elder's personal disciple, you can't. But before she finished, Xian Shi's magic artifact tore open Lu Xuangang. Bloody sprayed everywhere. Xian 11 couldn't completely obliterate people like Yemo, but he felt this was more satisfying. An essence spirit flew out from Lu Xuanggang's body, but before it charged out very far it was devoured by a black figure. It was shadowless. Yemo disliked this Lu Xuangang, so he gave his essence spirit to Shadowless. Bitch! Xian Shi looked coldly at Wu Mei and said. Wu Mei's face was white, and she said shakily. This isn't my fault, you went out for more than 100 years. How can I hold this merchant association together alone? I could only work with someone. Bullshit, work with someone in bed? Shameless wretch. Big brother was thinking of you every day and came back to pick you up. Xian Shi spat. Xian Yi suddenly shook his head. Xian Shi, don't say any more, we've already wasted a lot of Yi Qianbei's time. Let's go, there's nothing left for me to cherish here. Go, you killed my Chongqing sect members and you want to leave? A cold voice sounded. The Xian brothers just realized that outside the shop was filled with cultivators. A long-haired cultivator walked in and looked coldly at the Xian brothers. Wu Mei looked down in embarrassment seeing this cultivator. Mei, come over. Who killed my disciple? Never mind, I'll kill them all. Remember, it's Chu Liang from Chongqing sect who killed you. The long-hair cultivator scanned them, and then he saw Luoying and Jie Yokui. Then, he couldn't take his eyes off them anymore. Seeing this, how could Xian Yi not know that this woman slept with master and disciple? He howled into the sky. I, Xian Yi, was blind to love a filthy bitch like you. Killing you is dirtying my hands, piss off. Wu Mei, who had some regret, heard this and lost her sense of regret. She said coldly, I don't owe you anything, you have no right to say this to me. Xian Yi didn't reply, it was as though Wu Mei was just air. Wu Mei sneered. Yemo scanned Chu Liang's eyes and there was contempt on his face. A mere disaster transformation state level 3 and he dares to say shit. Xian 11, go kill him. Xian Shi heard this and immediately answered. Yes, Yi Qianbei. Yemo killed truth realization state level 9 easily. This disaster transformation state elder dared to act cocky to him. He released his magic artifact and snarled. Remember, the one who killed you is Xian 11. Then, he pierced his magic artifact like he did to Lu Xuangang. Everyone was dazed. A body condensation state cultivator dared to attack Chu Liang and say such cocky words. Was his brain disabled? Chu Liang laughed in fury. I want to see how you're going to kill me. But like Lu Xuangang, he only said half a sentence, and there was terror in his eyes. He clearly saw Xian Shi's magic artifact attack him, but he couldn't resist at all. Domain, Truth Realization State Cultivator, Chu Liang said. Splurge. Blood exploded out. No matter how powerful a disaster transformation state cultivator was, if he couldn't move at all being bound by Yemo's domain, even a golden core state cultivator could kill him. An essence spirit flew out, and was also gobbled by Shadowless. Wu Mei looked dazedly at her two men being killed by Xian Shi, not believing Xian Shi was this powerful. Let's go. Yemo shook his head and said. Haha, brother Yi, people really encounter people everywhere in life. A blue-shirt man called out and saluted with his fists. Yemo immediately recognized this cultivator and saluted with his fists happily. Brother Fu, people indeed meet everywhere. Fu Wu was a friend Yemo met in the small world. He saved Ji Mei due to him, and this woman wanted to follow Yemo. The three drank together, and Ji Mei became his maid. She had deep calculations, and Yemo had forgotten about this woman, but Fu Wu was a worthy friend. His ideal was to walk through all the famous mountains and lands. Now that he was at East Black State, did he still believe so too? I didn't expect, brother, you would always be ahead of me. In the Hangshui city in the small world, you were much stronger than me, and here you're still much stronger than me. Fu Wu laughed, but he didn't seem unhappy at all. Before Yemo could reply, he said, "Let's go find a place to drink, these people are." Yemo simply introduced everyone. Fu Wu's character immediately got everyone's good impression. Jin Qianqing kept looking at Fu Wu, but pity his power was too weak, only nascent soul state. They found a spirit rest tower, and Fu Wu said to Yemo, "I wanted to find you before, but you left the small world and I came to East Black State. I thought I would never be able to see you again, but I saw you now. I can tell you this now." Yemo took out a 10,000-year stalagmite marrow wine and took out 7 cups, pouring some for everyone. "Brother Fu, please continue." Fu Wu's face turned serious. "Brother Yi, I heard you were looking for a woman called Mu Xiaoyun in the small world? She's a sect members of the Ice Lake, is this true?" Yemo got up suddenly and grabbed Fu Wu's hands in excitement. "That's right, Brother Fu, Mu Xiaoyun is my wife. Where is she?" Even Luoying got up in excitement. She knew Mu Xiaoyun's place in Yemo's heart. She wouldn't be lower than them. Yemo missed Mu Xiaoyun as much as Yemo. Even Luoying got up in excitement. She knew Mu Xiaoyun's place in Yemo's heart. She wouldn't be lower than them. Yemo missed Mu Xiaoyun as much as Yemo. Fu Wu waved his hand and said, "Brother Yi, don't worry, you won't be able to find her now even if you go. When I heard about Brother Yi searching all over the small world for Mu Xiaoyun, I took notice. Once I heard 2 ordinary martial artists collecting herbs talking about the Magical Continent Sect tournament and then the Ice Lake. One of them said he saw the Ice Lake chariot go into Liangji Valley and he hid on the side, not daring to talk." Yemo got up suddenly and said shakily, "Yo, that old bitch of Ice Lake didn't go back to Ice Lake and went to Liangji Valley on the way?" At this moment, Yemo realized why he didn't find anyone coming back to Ice Lake. That old woman already had plans. Luckily, he left Xiaoyun a necklace and some pills. Hopeful that old woman sought death herself. "Yes," Fu Wu said seriously. "I later asked those 2 and they led me to the place. I searched there for an entire day, but I didn't find any way out. I really didn't get it. I trust those 2 wouldn't lie to me. But now I think I understand. There's probably some teleportation formation inside." Yemo fell silent. No wonder he couldn't find Mu Xiaoyun in the small world. She was taken away by that old woman of Ice Lake. She definitely did this for Xiaoyun's cultivation method. Yemo really wanted to go back to the small world and look at that valley, but he knew that it was impossible. Luoying came over and held Yemo's hand, saying, "Xiaoyun is lucky, she'll be fine. There will be a day for reunion. You've been back to Earth already. It's not impossible for you to go small world. We'll think of a way when we go back." Yemo sighed and looked at Luoying, saying, "Thank you, Susu." Then, Yemo forcefully set aside Xiaoyun's things and then saluted with his fists to Fu Wu. "Brother Fu, thanks for bringing me this news. I'm staying at South Peace State. I'm here to do some things here. If you're willing, you can come with me to South Peace State MOU City to cultivate. The spirit chi there is very abundant." Fu Wu saluted with his fists and smiled. "Thank you, Brother Yi, but I like journeying around. The East Black State spirit chi might not be as good as South Peace State, but I'm living quite happily here. If I'm tired of playing one day, perhaps I'll go find Brother Yi at South Peace State." Yemo was expecting this. Yemo was planning to give him some things, but now he changed his mind. Fu Wu reached nascent soul state in this time without joining any sect meant that he had his fortune. Perhaps he found a heritage ruin during his journeys. The group started drinking and conversing. "Good wine, this is really good." Someone in the Spirit Rest Tower suddenly walked over to Yemo's table and sniffed. Then he added, Is this made with 10,000-year stalagmite marrow? Using this to make wine too wasteful. This cultivator had messy hair and held a wine bottle. Clearly he loved drinking, but his power was disaster transformation state level 9. If it was some other time, he would invite this guy to drink, but he didn't have the mood. The messy-haired cultivator saw that the strongest on the table was only Jin Qianqing, cauldron-filling state. Yemo and the female cultivator next to him was very young. He couldn't see Yemo's power level. Theoretically, he was a disaster transformation state Qianbei and came to ask for a cup of wine. It should be fine. But these Wanbei pretended they didn't know. This made him longing and annoyed. He admired the courage that they dared to take such wine to drink publicly. Just when he wanted to talk, a powerful force loomed over the spirit rest tower. 5 cultivators came in to where Yemo was. The disaster transformation state cultivator's face changed and saluted with his fists. So it's Shangqing sect leader Yu Jinan, great elder Yu Mian. The leading 2 were disaster transformation state peak stage. Hearing this, Yemo knew they were here for Chu Liang. They came quite quickly. It had only been half an hour. One long-faced cultivator heard this and said bleakly, "Ran Fushi, you have nothing to do with the murder of Elder Chu Liang, right? If not, you don't need to leave." Hearing this, Ran Fushi realized what was going on, but clearly he was no timid cultivator. He sneered. Changqing sect is so dominant. Chu Liang is a mere disaster transformation state primary stage cultivator. He's not worth my time. Don't overestimate yourself. Changqing sect is only an 8-star sect. It's only so-so to me. If you want to take a piss over me like that, it's not enough. The long-faced cultivator realized Ran Fushi was not involved, but his tone was too annoying. Just when he wanted to say something, the middle-aged man next to him stopped him and saluted with his fists. "Since Brother Ran has nothing to do with this, then please go. Our sect is going to carnage today." Ran Fushi realized the sect was here for the people drinking the wine. He immediately pointed at Yemo and them in confusion. "Sect leader Yu, is it because they're drinking wine made from 10,000-year stalagmite marrow, so you want to use an excuse to kill them? This excuse is too shitty." Sect leader Yu heard this and said coldly, "If Brother Ran wants to intervene, we will take it." Then he looked over at Yemo's table. If Ran Fixie didn't say it, he really wouldn't know the wine was made from 10,000-year stalagmite wine. Ran Fushi looked at Yemo and them and sat on the side. "I'm just drinking my wine at this spirit rest tower. What you want to do has nothing to do with." He knew that he was not yet a match for the Chongqing sect. He was pitying the bottle of wine on Yemo's table. The long-haired cultivator walked up to Yemo and them saying coldly, "A few insects dare to ambush my Chongqing sect elder. You're asking to die." Yemo was in a bad mood and these few cultivators dared to annoy him. He yelled, "Piss off." The long-haired cultivator couldn't take it and grabbed at Yemo. But his hand stopped mid-air halfway. Before he could look surprised, a cultivation essence giant hand covered his body already. Truth realization. The long-haired cultivator said this and was crushed to nothing by Yemo's cultivation essence giant hand. Seeing Yemo kill a disaster transformation state peak stage elder in one move, everyone was shook. The sect leader instantly realized that they were starting trouble with a truth realization state cultivator. Cold sweat dripped down from his face. Ranfushi looked dazedly at Yemo. He finally realized why he dared to take out that wine and drink. He was a truth realization state cultivator. There weren't many truth realization states in the entire East Black State. Yet he was enticed by the wine and dared to ask for wine from truth realization state. He wasn't afraid of Chongqing sect as he knew even if they ganged up on him, he could run away, but how could he run from truth realization state? Qianbei, Wanbei Chongqing sect leader Yuejin. Greet Qianbei, please forgive me for offending Qianbei. Sect leader said shakily. Yuan Jian wouldn't expect to randomly meet a truth realization state in this small city. East Black State was a little stronger than North Far State, that was it. Chongqing sect was first-grade sect and the death of a disaster transformation state elder was huge, so all of them came out, but instead, they encountered a truth realization state cultivator. Yu Anjian wouldn't expect to randomly meet a truth realization state in this small city. East Black State was a little stronger than North Far State, that was it. Chongqing sect was first grade sect, and the death of a disaster transformation state elder was huge, so all of them came out, but instead, they encountered a truth realization state cultivator. Piss off. Yemo really didn't have the mood to kill anymore. Chongqing sect's power was too powerful to East Black State. They were used to being cocky. No matter how many he killed, the sect would still be like this. If this was South Peace State, would an 8-star sect dare to be this cocky? This was the same as the 9-star sects in South Peace State. Hearing this, Yu Anjin almost knelt down. He quickly bowed and retreated. Yu Anjin's face looked bad, and he said to the other three, "Go back to the sect immediately, and find Meng Qianbei and Huang Qianbei." Hearing this, they knew the sect leader wasn't going to settle with this, so they left. Ran Fuxi knew that truth realization state wasn't someone he could mess with, so he quickly went up and saluted with his fists. "Wanbei, Ran Fuxi didn't know it was truth realization state Qianbei. Please forgive me for my offense." Yemo didn't have the mood to drink with him, but he felt this person was good, so he poured out some wine. "You can have this." "Huh?" Ran Fuxi was dazed. He didn't expect would give him some. He wanted to reject, but it was too enticing to him. Yemo didn't have the mood to chat. He got up and said, "Let's go and finish the things and go back to South Peace State." Ran Fuxi just realized that this Qianbei came from South Peace State. "Yi Qianbei, will you be passing by here when you leave? If you do, I will wait for you and Sister Luoying here." Jin Qianqing felt Yemo had personal matters to deal with. It wasn't good for her to follow them everywhere. The Xian brothers also realized this. Xian quickly said, "Sister Jean is right. If Yi Qianbei is busy, we can wait here." Only Jie Yokui was too naive and didn't want to stay here. Yemo knew what they meant and waved his hand. "Let's go together. I'm just going to visit an old place." Seeing this, Fu Wu bid farewell. Blue Moon dashed towards Magical Herb Sect. It didn't fly very fast. "It's Hidden Sword Sect." Xian, she pointed at a big sect. Yemo, dazed and subconsciously asked, "Hidden Sword Sect, that 8-star sect? Sect leader is Bian Xiangxin?" Luoying smiled. "Yes. East Black State has 3 8-star sects and 1 9-star sections. The other 8-star sect is Dong Liang sect. They are the strongest, and Hidden Sword sect is the weakest. Yes, now that Chongqing sect lost 2 disaster transformation state cultivators to Yi Qianbei, Hidden Sword sect might surpass them." Xian, she nodded. "This was Bian Fingtao sect. He said his fiancée got with martial brother Yao Shan and his father helped Yao Shan instead. He left the sect in fury and crossed the Heartless Sea. Bian Fingtao was disaster transformation state level 1 now, but Yemo knew he hadn't forgotten about his fiancée Qirong. He just didn't want to say it. Erda and Dating were both Yemo's friends, and now that he was at Erda's home, Yemo was going to check it no matter what. He said to Luoying, "This is Erda's sect. Bian Xiangxin is Erda's father. I'm going to see and tell him he's fine." Blue Moon landed on the outskirts of the sect. As an 8-star sect, its sect looked very grand, on par with South Peace State sections. The spirit chi here was very dense. There was at least a top-grade spirit range below it. "Qian Bais, please hold up." A sect member stopped Yemo and them. Yemo saluted with his fists. "I'm friends with Bian Fingta. I came here to visit sect leader Bian. Please notify for me." The sect members heard this and didn't show much hospitality, and studied them with a strange look instead. After a while, he said, "The sect leader now is sect leader Lei. The old sect leader has deceased. Martial brother Bian has left the sect for decades and isn't in the sect now." Hearing this, Yemo frowned. Bian Fingtao's father was the sect leader and disaster transformation state level 8 power. He wasn't very old. He was far from the end of his lifespan. How could he suddenly die? "What is it?" A cold voice sounded as 2 female cultivator came out from the sect. The sect members quickly bowed. "Disciple, greet Elder Ming Master Qi. These few people say they are martial brother Bian Fingtao's friend. They came to visit the old sect leader, and I was explaining things to them." Oh. Elder Ming studied them and eventually her eyes fell on Jin Qianqing and saluted with his fists. I believe since you guys are with Erta you would know where he is? Jin Qianqing didn't know but Yemo said, Yes, Erta is my friend, I know where he is. He's busy with cultivation and I happened to go past the sect so I came to visit. There was a sliver of shock that flashed really quickly in the other female cultivator's eyes. Elder Ming heard this and showed an expression of surprise and joy. So you guys are Erta's friends, please come in. In 1 month it will be the celebration of our young sect leader taking the sect leader position. You guys can participate. The Elder Ming said to the female cultivator next to her. Irong, notify Elder and young sect leader to welcome Erta's friends. I'll take these friends to the guest hall first. Irong subconsciously shivered and quickly said, Yes, Elder. Irong, you're about to be sect leader wife, don't always call me Elder, just call me Sister Ming. Elder Ming reproached. Yemo immediately realized that this female cultivator was Chirong, but he felt this Chirong wasn't a slutty woman. Thinking about this, Yemo said, This is probably goddess Chi Erta told me about. Then Yemo said to that Elder Ming, Elder Ming, how about let goddess Chi take us to the guest hall? With someone familiar here we can talk better. There was a sliver of anger in her eyes but she smiled. Okay, Irong, don't be rude to our important guests. If the guests are unhappy and leaves, the big elder won't be happy. Yes, Elder Chi. Chirong quickly said and didn't call her Sister Ming. Elder Ming didn't seem to mind and nodded to Yemo and them before walking off. Chirong took them a few steps and stopped, saying desperately, Quickly leave, tell Erta I didn't betray him, tell him to never come back again. Things were indeed different to what Erta said. Yemo frowned. Erta is my friend, I don't know how his father died, I can't just leave like this. Why don't you listen? The big elder of the sect is... Chirong's words were interrupted by a laugh. A figure closed in extremely rapidly. Irong, why don't you take the distinguished guest to the guest hall? It's not good to treat guests like this. Then he raised his hand. Friends please, Erta's friends are the hidden sword sect's friends. Yemo felt things weren't right. This disaster transformation state level 6 seemed hospitable, but Yemo didn't feel welcomed at all. Thinking about what Chirong said, he hid his power. From what Erta said, his father wanted him to leave. He didn't seem angry or worried at all. Yao Shan sighed and barely collected himself. Brother Yu, where is Erta? The next month is when I take sect leader. This position belongs to Martial Brother Erta, but I can't find where he is. If he can come back, I would rather give this position to him. Yemo nodded. I know where Erta is indeed. He's at... Don't say it. He wants Erta to come back so he can kill him and take the hidden sword sect heritage on him. Chirong suddenly interrupted. Yemo looked calmly at her. He was waiting for her to tell the truth. Irong, are you crazy? If Erta comes back, we can give the sect leader to him, and then we can marry. Do you not want Erta to come back? He's my martial brother? The only bloodline of our sect. Yao Shan got up and said in confusion. Chirong sneered and ignored him. She turned to Yemo and said, Martial Brother Yi, you're Erta's friend, so I'll call you Martial Brother. I can tell you for sure, since you came here today, you wouldn't be able to leave the sect regardless if you tell them where Erta is. They want Erta's life and the heritage he took. Yemo now realized why this truth realization state level 1 came here. They all wanted the heritage of the sect. But he didn't hear Erta talk about the hidden sword sect heritage. Did he hide this? The truth realization state scanned Chirong coldly and said, Take her away. Yes. Elder Ming quickly bowed and was going to pull Chirong. Yao Shan looked desperate, but he didn't dare to talk. Chirong said again to Yemo, Martial Brother Yi, trust me, Erta must not come back. Tell Erta I'll be going first. Then she sneered to Yao Shan. Yao Shan, marry you? I, Chirong, never wanted to marry you. You and Ming Xiangtian killed sect leader Bian and you think no one knows? One day Erta will come back for revenge. She walked over to Elder Ming without the need for her to drag her. She had no intention to live anymore, but she knew suicide was impossible here. Since you know, then don't go, dying here is the same. The Truth Realization State Level 1 grabbed with Cultivation Essence giant hand. Grand Elder, don't kill Yirong, she won't say anything. Yao Shan called out desperately. The Truth Realization State glared coldly at Yao Shan. He shivered but didn't dare to say anything. Yemo didn't expect the inside story to be revealed this quickly. Bian Xiangxin was harmed by his disciple, the one whom he supported. Yao Shan clearly wasn't a good person to be able to harm his master. Qirong seemed to have a lot of things she wanted to say but didn't dare to. Eventually, she didn't have the opportunity to say it all. The Cultivation Essence giant hand dissipated halfway. Just when everyone thought the Grand Elder stopped due to Yao Shan's plea for mercy, there was extreme shock in the Grand Elder's eyes. Then, everyone saw another Cultivation Essence giant hand grab the Cultivation Essence giant hand like a little chicken and threw him into the middle of the hall. Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage, Domain Great Completion. The Truth Realization State couldn't even crawl up. Yemo casually sealed his power. Yemo would have killed this guy if he knew why Bian Xiangxin died. Everyone was scared, dumbfounded by Yemo's means. A Truth Realization State Level 1 couldn't even resist and was thrown like a chicken. Not even a Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage should be able to do this. But to Yemo, Truth Realization State Level 1 wasn't much stronger than an insect. Martial Brother Yi, Qian Bei. Qirong looked excitedly at Yemo. Just when she thought she was going to die, the impossible happened. Yemo was this young, but he was a Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage Master? Yemo nodded. Erda told me about you, but in his impression you didn't seem to be like this. Tell me more specific detail. No one dares to do anything to you here. Yes. Qirong nodded quickly in excitement. Qirong collected her thoughts and said, the sect leader didn't know there was sect heritage. He had this sudden feeling and didn't tell anyone when he came out of solitary cultivation. He went to visit the shrine of the deceased ancestors of the sect. At this moment, he found Ming Xiangtian, who snuck in here. At that time this person was Disaster Transformation State Level 9 Power. Qirong collected her thoughts and said, the sect leader didn't know there was sect heritage. He had this sudden feeling and didn't tell anyone when he came out of solitary cultivation. He went to visit the shrine of the deceased ancestors of the sect. At this moment, he found Ming Xiangtian, who snuck in here. At that time this person was Disaster Transformation State Level 9 Power. Truth Realization State Level 1. Ming Xiangtian heard this and his face changed. He finally realized he never found the heritage from Bian Xiangxin. At that time, Bian Xiangxin already noticed him. Qirong looked coldly at Ming Xiangtian, who couldn't move on the ground. Sect leader was very confused, as the sect leader of the sect had always been one from the Bian family. Why was an elder who wasn't of the Bian family at the shrine? The sect leader grew careful, and every time he went into solitary cultivation, he hid at the shrine. After some time, sect leader knew why. There was a top-grade cultivation method heritage in the sect. Ming Xiangtian's face went grew. He knew that things wouldn't end well today. Bian Fengta's friend was Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage. He really couldn't understand why a Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage would be so bored to be friends with a low-level cultivator. The sect leader was shook and furious. He didn't expect Xiang Mingtian was hiding this from him. He didn't know why the past sect leaders didn't know about this, and yet Ming Xiangtian knew. But the sect leader had made up his mind to kill Ming Xiangtian. There was contempt in Ming Xiangtian's eyes. This made Qirong more furious, she said hatefully. But when the sect leader was prepared to kill Ming Xiangtian, he realized the sect wasn't the same sect as before. He had been focused on solitary cultivation and didn't notice this. What does that mean? Jia Yokai asked. Qirong bowed to her and said, sect leader found that elderly suddenly died in solitary cultivation. Elder Feng, who went out to travel, was also surrounded and killed. The elder Hui died to his enemy. Elder Feng went missing when he went to the Heartless Sea. The sect leader Bian is too stupid. There had been so many dead and missing elders. Is he dumb? He only remembered them when he needed them? Jia Yokoi said. Qirong shook her head. It's not that the sect leader was dumb, but he trusted Ming Xiangtian too much. And he wanted to break through to disaster transformation state tertiary stage, so he was in solitary cultivation. How could he know what happened? Yemo nodded. Then Erta should know the mark. Huh? Qirong looked at Yemo with surprise and joy. Yiqian Bei Erta is disaster transformation state? Yemo smiled. Yes, Erta improves rapidly. He's indeed disaster transformation state. After this you can come with us to see him. But I'm Erta's friend, don't call me Qian Bei anymore. Just call me Martial Brother. Yes, Martial Brother Yi. Qirong resisted the excitement in her heart. She thought she would never be able to see Erta again. She couldn't help asking, Martial Brother Yi, where is Martial Brother Erta? Yemo nodded. He's in South Peace State. I came to East Black State to do some things. After I'm done, I'm going back to South Peace State. As for Hidden Sword Sect, just find someone to manage it. Then Yemo thought about the heritage. Since it was Erta's, he was planning to take it to him. Yemo asked, where is the heritage now? Erta isn't here, can I bring it to him? Qirong knew that she wouldn't be able to stop it if a Qian Bei like this wanted Erta's heritage, so she said. Not long after Erta left, Ming Xiangtian found the heritage place and realized it was found by the sect leader. He also realized that his things were exposed. Just when Ming Xiangtian was about to attack, the sect leader killed himself. The sect leader told me to find a time to leave the sect and find Erta. The sect leader didn't tell me, but I knew the sect leader had already given the heritage to Erta, but Erta doesn't know. Then why haven't you left? Jia Yokai asked. Jin Qianqing replied for her. Because she's been kept in custody here. Didn't you see, that Elder Ming followed her everywhere? Qirong nodded. Yes, because if I'm here Erta would come back. If I leave, Ming Xiangtian wouldn't be able to find him again. Ming Xiangtian's face was pale and he didn't say anything. He thought that at truth realization state level 1 he was at the peak other than the few truth realization states in East Black State. But now he realized he was nothing to a real master. Under Yemo's domain, Ming Xiangtian and them were all killed. Yao Shan truly loved Qirong and she couldn't do it, so Xian she killed him. There were not a single disaster transformation state cultivator left in the sect. Qirong gave the sect leader position to a cauldron-filling state tertiary stage cultivator. One day later they all left the sect. Qirong came with them. At this moment, at the previous site of Magical Herb Sect, Yemo and Luoying stood here silently. The sect doors had turned into barren wasteland. There were some level 1 and level 2 spirit herbs scattered around everywhere. They sprouted from seeds of the herb garden. At this moment, at the previous site of Magical Herb Sect, Yemo and Luoying stood here silently. The sect doors had turned into barren wasteland. There were some level 1 and level 2 spirit herbs scattered around everywhere. They sprouted from seeds of the herb garden. Luoying held Yemo's hand and walked into the ruins. Seeing where they used to live, Luoying's eyes went red. This was not only the place she and Yemo stayed at, but also where she lived since she had memory. Yemo, this is where I concocted pills, this is where you cultivated. Even though this place was in ruins, Luoying remembered very clearly. Susu. Yemo knew Luoying felt very sad and comforted. Yemo said. What is it? Luoying looked at Yemo in confusion. Yemo pointed at the ruins and said, someone set up restriction here, meaning that if we go in, people would immediately know. Who would set up restriction at this ruin? Luoying asked in confusion. The sect had no spirit chi nor spirit herbs. Those level 1 and level 2 spirit herbs were worthless, and could be found everywhere. I don't believe it would be anyone else but the West Flow sect, Yemo said heavily. Luoying fell silent. The sect was annihilated due to her. Now the West Flow sect set up a restriction here to wait for her or Yemo to come back. Yemo grabbed her hand. Susu, don't feel guilty. The sect was annihilated not due to you, you were just an excuse. Luoying looked at him in confusion. Yemo didn't hide it from her. I told you, when I killed Jing Yuzhen at the Truth Fall Palace, there was something I didn't tell you. The reason his father wanted to annihilate magical herb sect was for a herb cauldron. Herb cauldron? Luoying asked in confusion. Yemo nodded. That's right, but after they annihilated our magical herb sect they didn't find it. They only found a lid. I knew this from Jingyujin, he wouldn't dare to lie to me before his death. Then they set up this restriction for the herb cauldron? Luoying asked. Yemo said heavily. If I'm not wrong, West Flow sect has such intention, but of course the main point for this restriction is to wait for me or you to come back, especially you. You were the greatest prodigy of the sect at the time, it would most likely be you who took the herb cauldron. Of course, even if it isn't on you, you would still fall into their hands. So this means if we touch the restriction now, the West Flow sect people would come? Luoying asked Yemo. Theoretically yes, but after all these years I'm not if they would come. We don't need to wait here, we'll go there now. Yemo looked at the direction of the West Flow sect with killing intent. There was still a Jin-kun waiting to be killed. Yemo had never been there, but the Xian brothers knew where it was. Blue Moon arrived there in only half an hour. As a 5-star sect, Yemo thought the West Flow sect would be much better than Magical Herb sect, but when they came here, they realized it wasn't much better. It was a ruin too, they'd been annihilated for many years. Yemo felt that it was related to that herb cauldron. If it really was, just what sort of herb cauldron was it? Let's go. Luoying pulled Yemo, she suddenly hated staying here, she wanted to go back to Mou City. Zhao City, the largest cultivation city of East Black State, the teleportation formation to South Peace State was here. In a Spirit Rest Tower, for Truth Realization State states 3 famous formation Grand Master and 7 disaster transformation state cultivators were waiting here. This place gathered the strongest power of the East Black State. There wouldn't be more than 20 Truth Realization State cultivators in East Black State altogether. Most of them were hidden cultivators, they didn't come out into the world. The leading Truth Realization State was Manghai Sect leader, Truth Realization State Level 7 Chi Pei. As the top-level cultivator of East Black State, he usually didn't even have the time to come out, but he waited at this Spirit Rest Tower for nearly a month. He was discussing cultivation experience and formation with the others. One body condensation state cultivator carefully walked to the door and bowed to everyone before saying to the slightly chubby-faced middle-aged man sitting at the top, Chi Qianbei, Chongqing sect leader Yujinan asks to see you. Chi Pei nodded. Let him come in. Not long after the body condensation state left, Yujinan came in and saluted with his fists. Chongqing sect Yujinan greets sect leader Qi, elder Ji, Shi Qianbei, He Qianbei and friends. Yujinan was disaster transformation state peak stage and 8-star sect leader. Other than the truth realization states, the other people returned the gesture. Chi Pei nodded. Is there something important for sect leader you to come see me in such a rush? Yes, please help us, sect leader Qi. Yujinan seemed extremely wronged. What happened? A truth realization state level 4 next to Chi Pei asked in confusion. Chongqing sect was one of the only 3 8-star sects here. Who would dare to do anything to them other than the 9-star sect Dongliang sect? Chi Pei frowned and had a bad feeling. Yujinan didn't see Chi Pei's face and said quickly, an unseen truth realization state killed our sect members and killed our disaster transformation state level 3 elder Chu Liang without reason. I went with Big Elder Yumian to reason, but this truth realization state killed Big Elder without saying anything. Yujinan's face sunk and said, this person doesn't take our East Black State disaster transformation state cultivators seriously and kills without reason. Yujinan suddenly stopped as he felt the atmosphere wasn't right. Theoretically someone should be helping him, and then the truth realization state cultivators would get angry and sect leader Qi would order a warrant for that truth realization state cultivator. However, the room fell silent instead. The truth realization states looked at each other, and a skinny truth realization state level 5 looked at Yujinan coldly and asked, how old is that cultivator? Where did he come from? Is he from East Black State? Yujinan's heart shook, he felt things weren't right but he didn't dare to not reply. He Qianbei, That truth realization state definitely isn't from East Black State. I heard he came from Heartless Sea and is extremely young. Do you know what his name is? The skinny truth realization state said with a colder tone. Eugenon felt more insecure. He didn't know what he said wrong and replied carefully. He said he's called GMO. Saying that, Eugenon immediately felt things weren't right. The truth realization states looked at him with even colder eyes. The other disaster transformation state cultivators and formation grandmaster looked at him with a sliver of pity. Chi-Pei sneered and couldn't even be bothered talking. The skinny truth realization state sneered at Eugene. You brought this on yourself. Your Chongqing sect has always been very dominant, and I was thinking this day would occur. You want sect leader Chi to help you. I think you should wipe your neck clean. Eugenon fell into an ice cave hearing this. He didn't know where he was wrong. That truth realization state was powerful, but Chi-Pei was the #1 person in East Black State. How could he be so scared? Chongqing sect was an East Black State sect. Why was it like this? Eugenon finally realized that Yemo was no ordinary person. He didn't know who exactly Yemo was, but he knew if he didn't make remedies now, Chongqing's sect would be over. Feeling the pressure from the truth realization states, Eugenon knelt down. He wanted to slap himself a few hundred times. He didn't even find out who Yemo was and came here to seek death. Feeling the pressure from the truth realization states, Eugenon knelt down. He wanted to slap himself a few hundred times. He didn't even find out who Yemo was and came here to seek death. The skinny truth realization state looked coldly at Eugenon and said coldly, Are you regretting not finding out Yi Qianbei's identity first? Hearing this, Eugenon almost fell. Even truth realization state level 5 Hitsume called that young cultivator Qianbei. Just who was he? He was crazy to take on someone like that for a dead Zhu Liang. He Qianbei Wanbei. Eugenon didn't want to get revenge from Yemo at all. He just wanted to go back to the sect and go into solitary cultivation and not come out until he reached truth realization state. Before truth realization state, he was worse than an insect in front of them. This feeling was intolerable for him, a cultivator who had been at the top for so long. The skinny cultivator said, Yi Qianbei came to East Black State to set up interstate teleportation formation. You offended Yi Qianbei, no one can save you. Then Hiwame shot out a dark ray into Eugenon's chest. Eugenon couldn't move immediately. Hiwame turned back to a disaster transformation state level 7 and said, Changfei, lock him up first and wait for Yi Qianbei's decision. Yes. A cultivator came up and took Eugenon away immediately. Eugenon knew Changfei, but even if he wasn't sealed, he didn't dare to do anything. He breathed easy after leaving the room. He really couldn't take that pressure inside. Changfei took Eugenon to a room and saluted with his fists. Sorry, sect leader, you can only stay here and wait for Yi Qianbei. Eugenon took out a jade bottle to Changfei. Brother Shang, on the account we know each other, can you tell me who that Yi Qianbei is? Looking at the jade bottle, Changfei couldn't resist but take it and say, Sect leader, I only know some simple things. The teleportation formation from East Black State to South Peace State is seriously damaged. That Yi Qianbei is a level 9 formation Grand Master coming to repair it. Eugenon dazed. A level 9 formation Grand Master was indeed very important, but not to the degree for Hiwame to call him Qianbei. Changfei sighed, seeing that Eugenon hadn't realized things. Sect leader, your sect is 8-star sect, but Yi Qianbei can probably completely stamp clean your sect in less than 5 minutes. The East Black State teleportation formation is damaged, but it can still teleport Jade Slip. 9-star sect Heaven Demon sect leader Shiluan are friends with Qi Qianbei. This time 11 Luan Qianbei went to North Far State. Before she went, she sent a Jade Slip to sect leader Qi, and it introduced Yi Qianbei's character and power. Changfei shook his head. Sect leader, if you knew that the South Peace State disaster was saved by Yi Qianbei by himself, if you knew 2 9-star sects in South Peace State were easily annihilated by Yi Qianbei, If you knew the 10-star power of South Peace State, Pill City sent 11 Truth Realization State cultivators to attack Yiqian Bay and was killed clean by Yiqian Bay, and yet Pill City didn't even have the courage to get revenge. You wouldn't look for trouble with Yiqian Bay. Huh? Yu Jinan was completely dazed. He didn't expect the young cultivator he wanted to look for trouble with was this power. This was completely beyond Truth Realization State cultivator. No wonder He Wu Mei called this person Qian Bei. Before Shang Fei left, he said, Qi Qian Bei and them are here waiting for Yi Qian Bei. They'd been waiting for a month or so. Yu Jinan completely collapsed. He knew that with one word of Yi Qian Bei, he would be completely over, and so would his sect. The Spirit Rest Tower's happy atmosphere was made sullen by Yu Jinan. Qi Pei was annoyed. This Yu Jinan was an unlucky charm. Shi Luan was very close to him. When they first set up the teleportation formation, they too regretted meeting so late. Her jade slip was very detailed, and he only told the others some basic things. Yemo could be said to be the #1 person in South Peace State now. Level 9 Formation Grandmaster, Level 9 Pill King, and he annihilated 1000 km Spirit Devouring Bug by himself, killing a few 100 million Sand Soul beasts. He killed 11 Truth Realization States, including a Truth Realization State Level 9 with low-grade Immortal Artifact. Fighting against someone like that is asking for death. Just when Qi Pei was annoyed, the Body Condensation State reported again, saying desperately, Qi Qian Bei, Qian Bais, Yi Qian Bei is at the teleportation formation studying the teleportation formation. Quickly go. Qi Pei rushed out of the Spirit Rest Tower already. The rest of the cultivators followed. They all wanted to see what sort of person this Yi Qian Bei was. Yemo knew that Luoying wanted to go back, but Yemo wasn't going to fly across the Heartless Sea. He just needed to repair the teleportation formation and go back through there. They just arrived for a while, and Qi Pei brought everyone over. East Black State Qi Pei greet Grandmaster Yi. Qi Pei wanted to call Yemo Qian Bei, but Yemo was much younger than him and only a level higher than him in cultivation level. He knew he would probably be instantly killed by Yemo, but he was too embarrassed to call Yemo Qian Bei. Yemo heard of Qi Pei. Wan Shi told him it was her good friend. Even if he wasn't Wan Shi's friend, Yemo would give some face to him for being East Black State Truth Realization State, so he politely greeted everyone, including the Disaster Transformation State level formation Grandmasters. After that greeting, they realized sometimes stories weren't true. Wan Shi said Yemo was very powerful and they must not offend Yemo. This made them think Yemo was a cold master. But Yemo treated Qi Pei with the same attitude he treated Body Condensation States. Qi Pei breathed easy and then spoke about Yu Jinan. Without hesitation, he knew it was Yu Jinan's wrong. Chu Liang he knew was very lustful. Yemo's wife was an extreme beauty in this world. Chu Liang wasn't going to let her go after seeing her. Hearing this, Yemo's face immediately sunk. He just realized that he let Yu Jinan, but this guy instead wanted to find people to kill him. Seeing this, Qi Pei immediately realized what to do without the need for Yemo to say anything. He said to the Truth Realization State Level 2 behind him, Sect Leader Yu has made a huge mistake, he must die. The Changqing sect can change elders. Yes, Sect Leader. The Truth Realization State turned to leave. Yemo didn't expect Qi Pei to be this decisive. Yemo wasn't going to let go someone like that. Yi Qian Bei, how should we set up this formation? Please tell us, we can do the work. This was the only level 9 formation Grandmaster of East Black State. Yemo nodded. I'll set up this formation. The spirit chi here is too bad, the formation materials are too low quality too, I will switch it all. Then Yemo said to Luoying, Su, go with Qian Qing and them and stay at the Spirit Rest Tower for a few days. I need about 5 to 6 days for this formation. Yemo was level 1 Immortal Formation Master. He had no problems for this teleportation formation, and he had plenty of materials in his storage ring. He was willing to do this for East Black State. He wanted that after he set up the teleportation formation, any cultivator could use it to get to South Peace State, and not be limited like before. Luoying nodded. Seeing Emo take out an extreme grade spirit range and put into the formation, even Chi-Pei was dazed. Even his sect didn't have it, and yet easily took one out to set up the teleportation formation. This wasn't just wealthy. The few formation grandmasters saw Emo make formation flags on the spot and knew Emo wasn't repairing formation, he was setting up a completely new teleportation formation. Five days later, Emo finished setting up the teleportation formation. He didn't leave immediately and asked Chi-Pei to help him find Chi-Wan-Qing. 5 days later, Emo finished setting up the teleportation formation. He didn't leave immediately and asked Chi-Pei to help him find Chi-Wan-Qing. A month later, Emo didn't get any news of her. He was disappointed and left East Black State with Luoying and them. Returning to South Peace State, Jin Qianqing also bid farewell and left. The Blue Moon came to Mou City. Both Xian brothers and Qirong were astounded by the dense spirit Qi in Mou City. The Xian brothers rejoiced at their decision. For someone who stayed at the sea corner for a few decades, any place in South Peace State would make them very happy, much less Mou City. They could imagine how rapid they would be cultivating here. Emo thought Erda would ignore Qirong, but what they didn't expect was that he saw her, and immediately rushed over, grabbing her hand. Yarta! Qirong was excited seeing him after a few decades again, and didn't know what to say. Did something happen to my dad? Bianfengta had a bad feeling and said in a shaky tone. Qirong's eyes went red and she said in surprise. You already know? Bianfengta took out a jade disc and nodded. After I reached disaster transformation state, I found this heritage disc. I know everything. Sorry, Qirong, I shouldn't misunderstood you. They knew the two had a lot to talk, so they left. After all the huge events, South Peace State completely calmed down, and so were the 3 other states in Luoyu continent. Emo repaired the few teleportation formations and set up the teleportation formation from Peihai City to Mou City, and then went into solitary cultivation. The benefits of corner soul weed to his spirit sense was unimaginable. Emo got a lot of corner soul weed, but he used them up quick and needed to leave some for the people with him. Emo didn't use time formation disc to cultivate spirit sense, he didn't have much immortal crystals left. 3 years later, Emo's spirit sense doubled. His spirit sense improved like crazy using corner soul weed and pure spirit nourishing well. If he went to annihilate those spirit devouring bugs, he wouldn't almost collapse in exhaustion. Emo had reached level 5 of 5 element mobility. He could use 2 purple suns for Heaven Flame 9 suns now. The only pity was that he didn't have a better spirit sense cultivation method. His purple eye soul sever was too low. If he had better spirit sense cultivation method, Emo believed he would be able to reach Heaven Flame 9 suns level 3. Su Jingwen finished her divine damnation and reached cauldron filling state. Luoying reached body condensation state level 7, Tang Beiwei reached hollow spirit state level 4, and even Xu Ping and Shirtai were nascent soul state. Only Emo didn't dare to cultivate. He was afraid he wouldn't be able to control his power, and ascended early. What annoyed Emo was that when he cultivated, his cultivation wasn't fast when he used time formation disc and immortal crystals. But when he cultivated spirit sense, in a few short years he reached truth realization state level 8 peak. If he used immortal crystals, he would have reached truth realization state level 9 in a short time already. Emo knew he couldn't keep waiting. If he kept waiting, he might not have a chance to go back to the small world. Knowing that Mu Xiaoyan went missing at Liangji Valley in the small world, Emo wanted to go down already. Now that Mou City was going in the right tracks and everyone was cultivating fast, if he still didn't go to the small world, people would be immortal ascending. He wanted to immortal ascend first. Mou City was the safest place in South Peace State. No one dared to mess with him. This was a place countless people respected, so Emo felt very safe leaving everyone here. From Jean Jinlin's jade slip, he knew that Immortal Realm was countless times bigger than Luoyu continent. The 33 heavens of Immortal Realm, if each heaven was an ocean, Luoyu continent wouldn't even splash a wave up if thrown inside. At Mou City Lake, Yemo, Luoying, Ningqingxue, Su Jingwen, Song Yangzhu and them were sitting together. They knew Yemo was going to the small world, but no one stopped him. No one felt unhappy too. Yemo would do this for any one of them. If Yemo wasn't like this, how could they fall in love with him? How are you planning to go? Ningqingxue bit her lips. She was body condensation state level 4 and many times she wanted to give birth to a child for Yemo, but seeing everyone cultivating and out of fear she would fall behind too much, she delayed this plan to after immortal ascension. Yemo was planning to go Nangong village first. That place was too mysterious. It was where Chujiuyu lived too. Chujiuyu immortal ascended in the small world, perhaps he could find something there. If not, he would forcefully tear open the voice. But Yemo didn't dare to say this, he was afraid they would go there if he went for too long. Nangong village was not a good place. He warned everyone in Mou City to never go there unless reaching truth realization state peak stage. I'm planning to tear open the void. I can do that with my power now. I reached God state body refinement there, so there's no danger. Even if I can't find the small world, I can come back. Yemo said casually. Then you need to come back earlier, Su Jingwen said. Yemo nodded. No matter if I find Xiaoyun or not, I will try to come back as early as possible. If Xiaoyun is there too, we'll be all united. Then, Yemo said heavily, there's no direction in the void, so I don't know if I will go directly to the small world. So, I need to tell you guys some things. The group focused, seeing that Yemo's tone was serious. No matter how long cultivators live in the cultivation realm, it's at most about 10,000 years. Those older than that are very rare. We will be together forever, so we can only ascend to immortal realm. I want us to be able to be together forever in the immortal realm. Then, we can sit in my magic artifact and roam the 33 heavens, so, ascending to the immortal realm is our first fighting step. If we ascend to immortal realm, would we be able to live forever and be together forever? Song Yangzhu's eyes were teary. She was the weakest, she was scared she would fall behind too much and stay here alone. She couldn't resist being alone. Yemo shook his head. I don't know, I only know immortals' lifespan is countless times that of cultivation realm cultivators. I don't know if it's eternal lifespan, but I have a feeling that even in the immortal realm, you probably can't attain eternal life. He knew what Song Yangzhu thought. She worked hard, but due to spirit root limitations, she was the weakest. Yemo got up and pulled her hand. No matter what, I'll be satisfied that we can stay together in the immortal realm for countless years. Yangzhu, don't worry, although your spirit root isn't as good as Jingwen and Qingxue and them, but you can immortal ascension too, trust me. Song Yangzhu nodded. Seeing them all a little reluctant to let him go, Yemo said again. I'm certain I can come back, but there's no direction in the void. I don't know how long it will be till I come back. So before I leave, I need to tell you what I know about the immortal realm so we can all meet up after immortal ascension. The immortal realm is different to Luoyu continent. If we don't make arrangements, we'll never find each other. Yemo said seriously. So before I leave, I need to tell you what I know about the immortal realm so we can all meet up after immortal ascension. The immortal realm is different to Luoyu continent. If we don't make arrangements, we'll never find each other. Yemo said seriously. Tell us, after you leave I will tell this to Yemo and Bei Wei and them. Luoying nodded. Yemo said, according to what I know, there are 33 heavens in the immortal realm. There are divisions between them, but I don't know specifically. I think the divisions are either based on power or immortal spirit chi density. Yuheng Heaven Lord Lu Jingchuan has enmity with me, so we must not go there. We can't even say we're from Luoyu continent, just say we're from Xinqiang cultivation realm. Yemo was worried about Lu Jingchuan the most. Yemo didn't know how powerful this guy was, but Jing Jinlin said he was extremely powerful. Xinqiang cultivation realm was the cultivation realm of Meng Qi. It could avoid some trouble. Then where should we meet? Su Jingwen asked. Yemo said, when we first immortal ascend, we're took weak, we wouldn't be able to cross heavens. We wouldn't be able to afford the teleportation formation fees. I'm thinking we can cultivate ourselves or join a sect. After we have enough power, we'll go meet up in Gonghua Heaven. Jin Jinlin told his descendants to go there. It must be very far from the Yuheng Heaven and a rather safe place. Gonghua Heaven? Is it really far from Yuheng Heaven? Song Yangzhu asked. Yemo nodded. Theoretically, yes, I got this news from Jin Qianqing's ancestor. She was an immortal formation master and was thrown onto Luoyu to set up formation, and he was killed by Lu Jingquan. He definitely would want his descendants to be safe from Lu Jingquan, so he probably chose a reliable place. If you get to the immortal realm and find it's very hard to get to Gonghua Heaven or it's not safe to go, we don't have to meet there. All in all, cultivation and safety matters first. So what if we wait tens of thousands of years? As long as we have enough power, we will meet again. Yemo took out communication beads and gave everyone one and the extras to Luoyu. These are communication beads I made with extreme flame star gold. You can use it, contact each other, and sense each other on Luoyu. I don't know how far we will be in the immortal realm, but this is better than nothing. Seeing them not talk, Yemo felt sad too. Sometimes, he really wanted to just grow old with them at MOU City, but he kept feeling this calling, and that was he must keep cultivating. He must stand at the highest point. He knew that even if he didn't cultivate, staying at MOU City will result him reaching truth realization state peak stage sooner or later. Other than this, he had a sense of desperation. Even if he stayed at Luoyu and didn't grow in power, who knows if Lu Jingquan can send other people down. Casting these thoughts aside, Yemo said again, "No matter how long it takes for me to come back, if you need to immortal ascend, then do it immediately. I feel that even when I don't cultivate, my power is increasing. I'm afraid I'll ascend before coming back to MOU City. As for the cultivation methods I gave you guys, don't worry about the latter parts. They came from 3 birth chant, the latter parts will be born itself. So you must not reveal this cultivation method, tell Yemo and them." This wasn't the first time Yemo said this. Everyone knew Yemo's cultivation method was very precious. It would have a different set of cultivation method based on the person's own learnings. Their current magics and techniques were gathered by Yemo, but in the immortal realm Yemo didn't even have his own. They would have to find their own. Yemo was about to leave MOU City, so they just stopped cultivation and played together for a month. A month later, Yemo left MOU City quietly. Nangong Village, Yemo came in here and no one was able to notice. Yemo was certain that there was a level 1 immortal formation here. Before, he wouldn't be able to come in under the radar. From the outside, the Nangong Village didn't seem very big, but after coming in, he realized it was many times bigger than he had imagined. This was all because Chu Jiuyu set up formation here. It was very quiet inside, and one could occasionally see a few disciples walking past. As soon as Yemo entered a defense formation in the backyard, a powerful spirit sense swept over. It stayed at where Yemo was for a long time before disappearing. Yemo was shook. He knew that Nangong Village was very powerful, but he didn't expect it was this powerful. That spirit sense was at least truth realization state level 9. Just what were they doing hiding all this power? Luckily, he only entered the formation and didn't break it. If he broke it, that spirit sense would have found him already. He wasn't afraid of trouble, but he didn't want everyone to know MOU City's city lord snuck into Nangong Village. This damaged MOU City's reputation. Yemo just wanted to find if there was some teleportation tunnel here. He knew the chances were slim, but he felt uncomfortable if he didn't try. Yemo was more curious after seeing how powerful this place was. After that spirit sense disappeared, Yemo was more careful in here. 15 minutes later, he found that the backyard was the end. There were 3 doors and they were all blocked by restriction. The middle door was the largest, and the ones on the 2 sides were smaller. Yemo couldn't scan his spirit sense in any of them, so he chose to go into the largest. Just when Yemo was about to move, a figure dashed over. Yemo quickly stopped himself. It was Yi Zifeng. Yi Zifeng's face was numb. He went into the left passage. Yemo immediately knew he must have some jade card to be able to enter so easily. What confused Yemo was that Yi Zifeng was only hollow spirit state when he last saw him, but in a few short years, HEAS body condensation state level 2. Yemo changed his mind, he went into the left door. These restrictions were level 9, but it was nothing for an immortal formation master. After entering the door, the environment changed. It was a spirit herb garden. There were quite some level 7 and level 8 spirit herbs here. This was definitely considered top-grade spirit herb garden. Even though he left most of the spirit herbs at MOU City, his Golden Page World Spirit Herb Garden was much higher level than this. At the border of the garden was a 9-curved hallway, reminding Yemo of the same hallway at Ice God Forbidden Grounds. Yi Zifeng had disappeared. Yemo followed the hallway, and after a few hundred meters, a level 9 defense formation appeared before them. Yemo didn't go straight in. He had a feeling that no matter how careful he was, he would be found. Yemo's purple eye soul sever was at level 6 now. His spirit sense blades were invisible, and he gathered his own spirit sense spike. Spirit sense spike and soul spike was different. The soul spike attacked spirit sense, while the spirit sense spike was not for attack. It was for dealing with formation and restrictions that spirit sense couldn't scan in. Yemo's purple eye soul sever was at level 6 now. His spirit sense blades were invisible, and he gathered his own spirit sense spike. Spirit sense spike and soul spike was different. The soul spike attacked spirit sense, while the spirit sense spike was not for attack. It was for dealing with formation and restrictions that spirit sense couldn't scan in. Before, he could use spirit sense blades for that too, but there was 2 drawbacks. One was that it used too much spirit sense, and second, it caused too much commotion. If it was a formation someone was guarding, it would be easily noticed. Spirit sense spike didn't have this limitation. Of course, in order to stay stealth when piercing formation with spirit sense spike, his own spirit sense had to be very powerful, and he also need to be experienced in formation. At this moment, Yemo's spirit sense spike easily penetrated this level 9 formation and went inside the room. When Yemo came inside expressionlessly, Yemo guessed this wasn't a place he cultivated at. Now, his spirit sense showed that he was right. This room was simple. It was only a stone room that was 20 square meters. There was nothing else in the room but a cushioned seat. A male cultivator sat on the cushion. His head was very big, but his body was small. Yi Zifeng stood before the man and looked very respectful. The male cultivator studied Yi Zifeng for a long while before nodding happily. "Not bad. Your cultivation speed has been fast recently. I hope you can become the #1 person of the Nangong family, even Luo Yu continent #1. Yi Zifeng bowed respectfully. Nangong Zifeng's life was saved, master. Zifeng would never disappoint master, nor the Nangong family. Hearing this, Yemo dazed. Yi Zifeng even changed his last name to Nangong. If Yi Beirong heard this, he might get crazy of anger. The big-headed cultivator nodded. Very well, you're indeed the supporting pillar talent of our family. Nangong Xiaodai is the most prominent family member. She has nourishing wood spirit root, you need to treat her well. Without her, you wouldn't be at where you are today. Yemo heard this and sighed. Nourishing wood element is like Su Jingwen's hidden spirit root. Before activation, one couldn't cultivate, but after activation, the cultivation speed would be extremely fast. Nourishing wood spirit root was very rare. Any nourishing spirit root of the 5 elements were very rare. Its cultivation speed wasn't as good as hidden spirit root, but was on par with pure spirit root. It also had an important attribute. It could help someone who doesn't have spirit root nurture a spirit root. Of course, this was unconditional. The person without spirit root must eat the top-grade spirit item of the 5 elements. If he ate a water element spirit item, he would need a water-nourishing spirit root. So this was extremely hard. Nangong Xiaodai was wood-nourishing spirit root. The reason Yi Zifeng could cultivate so fast without spirit root was clearly because he consumed top-grade wood element spirit item. He finally understood why Yi Zifeng didn't leave Nangong Xiaodai. Yemo sighed. He knew that the spirit root nurtured with nourishing wood spirit root was not only good but suitable for possession. Did this big-headed guy want to take over Yi Zifeng's body? Otherwise, why would he go help someone like Yi Zifeng? Why did he use Nangong's Shao Dai and even top-grade wood element spirit item? Yi Mo's spirit sense carefully searched this cultivator. He immediately noticed that he almost didn't have a body. He was probably poisoned by a very powerful poison. After a while, his body would completely disappear. This guy was indeed preparing Yi Zifeng for possession. Yi Mo sighed. Although he knew the truth of things, he didn't plan to intervene. He didn't kill Yi Zifeng on Yi Ling's account, but he wasn't going to help Yi Zifeng. He abandoned Qing Nana and undermined her innocence, and brought him into it as well. Yi Mo didn't know why Yi Zifeng became such a person, but he could guess that he probably suffered a lot trying to survive in South Peace State alone. But to Yi Mo, that wasn't an excuse at all. No matter how hard it was, he was an adult. There were many people on Luoyu who couldn't cultivate. Could he have had life harder than when he was young? He had no parents and had to find food everywhere? When he was taken by the old Taoist of magical herbs sect, he had gone through his hardest moments. Yes, Master, Dai is my life. Even if I die, I wouldn't let her get injured, Yi Zifeng said with great certainty. The big-headed cultivator nodded. Very well, very well. The big-headed cultivator fell silent. After a while, he opened his eyes and said, Zifeng, come here the middle of next month. I have a small dimension magic artifact I'm planning to give you. Sigh, I'm probably about to ascend to the immortal realm. It's a waste to take it to the immortal realm. Yi Mo sneered. The middle of next month was the Ghost Festival. Essence Spirit was loose and it was the perfect time for possession. The big-headed cultivator was planning to wait a while, but perhaps seeing Yi Zifeng progress too fast, he didn't dare to keep waiting. His body was about to die and his essence spirit wasn't very stable. If Yi Zifeng cultivated a little longer, he wouldn't be able to possess him. Yi Zifeng looked joyful and said, Zifeng, thank Master. The big-headed cultivator waved his hand. Zifeng, don't be so polite with Master. I can even give Shao Dai to you. Others is nothing. Just remember you are the Nangong family member and your Nangong Fei's disciple. Otherwise, even if you ascend to the immortal realm, I won't let you go. Yes, Zifeng will remember. There was a sliver of fear on Yi Zifeng's face. Don't worry, just remember you're a member of the Nangong family. Okay, you can go now. The cultivator waved his hand. Yes, Master, I will leave now. Yi Zifeng bowed respectfully and was about to leave. Nangong Fei suddenly thought of something and stopped him. Zifeng, has there been much news about Mou City, Mo? Yi Zifeng quickly said. Not much. I went to Flowing Snake City once with Shao Dai. I heard that Mo is studying runes. I don't know why he is doing that, so I went to find out, and I realized that he could make level 11 runes after a mere 3 years. I really wonder what his head is made of. He's level 9 Pill King as well. Yi Mo was dazed. The highest level rune in the cultivation realm was level 12, since when could he make level 11 runes? He could barely make level 7 rune. He never even studied rune making. Oh? Nangong Fei frowned as though thinking why Yi Mo would make runes. As a pill master, he had endless spirit stones. Would he need to waste time to make runes? Yi Zifeng said affirmatively. Yes, Master. Shao Dai felt this was strange too. She took me to an auction there, and he bought a rune like this. I was planning to go see sect leader, but Master called me, so I came over. Nangong Fei nodded. Show me that level 11 rune first. Yes, Master. Yi Zifeng carefully took out a pale yellow rune and said, Master, look this. Suddenly Yi Zifeng palmed over the rune. The rune brought out a yellow light and instantly stuck to Nangong Fei. What are you doing? Nangong Fei was furious, not expecting the obedient Yi Zifeng to suddenly do this. Yi Zifeng sneered. What am I doing? Nangong Fei, do I need to tell you what I want to do? As he spoke, the rune turned into a veil completely binding Nangong Fei's essence spirit. Then, Yi Zifeng released his magic artifact and smashed at Nangong Fei. As he spoke, the rune turned into a veil completely binding Nangong Fei's essence spirit. Then, Yi Zifeng released his magic artifact and smashed at Nan Gongfei. Yi Mo thought and entered the formation without hesitation, recording with a crystal ball. When Nan Gongfei was there, he didn't dare to go in, as that Nan Gongfei was too powerful and that formation was connected to his mind. Yi Zifeng didn't have that power. Yi Mo was certain Yi Zifeng wouldn't be able to know he came in. Nan Gongfei couldn't even care about himself now. How could he care that someone came into his formation? Nan Gongfei really didn't understand why Yi Zifeng, who was very respectful to him, would suddenly attack. He taught Yi Zifeng cultivation very devotedly and married Nan Gong Xiaodai to him. He knew Yi Mo's origin very clearly. He was Yi Mo's brother and came from a world that couldn't cultivate at all. This tame disciple, who didn't even dare to speak loudly in front of him, now suddenly attacked him. Plus, Yi Zifeng was about to leave, but he called him back. If he was going to attack, why didn't he do it earlier? Did he know he would call him back? Crack! Yi Zifeng's magic artifact smashed on Nan Gongfei's body, completely breaking it apart. Nan Gongfei wasn't injured much though. However, he roared with fury. Yi Zifeng, are you crazy? You dare to use level 11 spirit binding rune against me, you bastard! Seeing Yi Zifeng attack without hesitation, Nan Gongfei knew it was pointless to be angry. He suddenly calmed down and looked coldly at him. Why are you killing me? I saved your life and married Xiaodai to you. If you have no reason, you will be distraught with Heart Demon forever. Yi Mo took out 2 more runes and put it on Nan Gongfei's essence spirit. They were level 10 only. Then Yi Zifeng sneered. If I don't kill you, the middle of next month would be when I die. You old fart are really disgusting. Nan Gong Xiaodai is your descendant, yet you want to take my body. Are you going to shamelessly marry your great-great-granddaughter? How did you know? Nan Gongfei asked in shock. He didn't expect a clueless idiot like Yi Zifeng would know. Yi Mo was also confused too. I don't know, Yi Zifeng said coldly. But I've gone through too many things. I was a family lord, do you know? I was a city lord, do you know? I have also knelt down and begged for food like a dog. When I was fighting for food like a dog, I realized something. No matter when I was family lord, city lord, or a dog, something would never change. What is it? Nan Gongfei asked subconsciously. Yi Zifeng seemed to be talking to himself. When I was family lord, they were just using my force. I was allowed to be city lord because I wouldn't betray that city and I would work wholeheartedly for that place. Just like fighting for food like a dog, that was an opportunity one had to fight for. From that day, I knew there is no free food in the world. Brotherhood? Husband and wife? Pfft, these are the most disgusting excuses. Yi Zifeng stared at Nan Gongfei and sneered. You saved me because I accidentally outwould element spirit item, but you didn't tell me I did that. You just said you liked my persistence, and took me back to the Nan Gong village. You even intentionally let Nan Gong Xiaodai get close to me and fall in love with me. Then you made her nurture spirit root for me and take me in as disciple. You taught me cultivation method and cultivation. Nan Gongfei, the moment I was abandoned, I knew there wouldn't be anything that was free in this world. Yet you wanted me to believe there was. Do you think I will? Seeing Nan Gongfei's bleak face, Yi Zifeng said in contempt. In order to find the side effect of nurtured spirit root, I went to many markets and looked through countless jade slips. Finally, in a small stall I found a jade slip. It said that nurtured spirit roots were very suitable for possession. Nan Gongfei, the more you cultivate, the smaller your body grows. You can ascend with your body? Can it pass divine damnation? If I'm not wrong, you just want to possess me. What if you guess wrong? Nan Gongfei said numbly. Yi Zifeng laughed. So what if I guess wrong? I'm just killing a Nan Gongfei, so what? Nan Gongfei wasn't angry this time and said calmly. These few years you've been finding an opportunity to ambush me, right? You're right, but pity you haven't given me an opportunity. Even today, I almost didn't get the opportunity. Nan Gongfei seemed unhappy that he only got to ambush Nan Gongfei now. You're evil indeed. If I didn't call you back today, would you still come back? Nan Gongfei asked emotionlessly. Yi Zifeng nodded. You're right, I indeed only have one chance, and you have to create it for me. Otherwise, faced against an old monster like you, I wouldn't die many times already. Luckily, you gave me this opportunity today. If I didn't succeed, I would find an opportunity before middle of next month. But you gave me the opportunity today, so I need to thank you. If I knew I would die to a minor figure like you, I might as well fight with Yemo head on and die in his hands. Nangong Fei sighed. Yi Zifeng sneered. Fight with Yemo? Don't overestimate yourself. Yemo killed 11 Truth Realization State cultivators of Pill City, including a Truth Realization State peak stage with low-grade immortal artifact. You need to know he was only Truth Realization State primary stage at that time. Now, he's Truth Realization State peak stage. Even if all of Nangong family went, they would get slaughtered, much less just you. Seeing Nangong Fei not talk, Yi Zifeng continued. I don't know what exactly the secret of the Nangong family is, but I know that Nangong family isn't as simple as this. I will find the secret slowly. You. Nangong Fei was agitated this time. Yi Zifeng waved his hand. You don't need to get angry. It's good that the Nangong family resources are given to me. I will help you kill that Yemo. Haha. Nangong Fei suddenly laughed. So what if you killed me? Your wife was still fucked by your big brother. However, Yi Zifeng sneered. You're wrong. I'm going to kill Yemo not because he took my wife. Qing Nana is not bad looking, but Yemo wouldn't be interested in her, and nor would she think that way. Seeing Nangong Fei look at him in disbelief, Yi Zifeng said coldly. I'm going to kill him because there's a huge secret on him. I will stand at the top, so I must take his secret. You're cruel indeed. This way, even if you kill Yemo, no one would say anything. Nangong Fei looked at Yi Zifeng like an idiot. Kill Yemo? Who did this guy think he was? If Yemo was that easily killed, he would died countless times. Yemo reached Truth Realization State in a few years. Who doesn't know there are secrets on him? But why does no one dare to touch him? Because all those who tried are dead. Yi Zifeng didn't explain. He knew Nangong Fei didn't believe him, but he had his way. He turned to Nangong Fei and said, You know why I haven't killed you yet? I know you really do have a dimensional magic artifact. Give that to me and I promise I won't annihilate the Nangong family. Nangong Fei said calmly. I do have it and I can give it to you, but I really want to know, how are you going to kill Yemo? Yemo heard this and realized immediately that Nangong Fei was asking this for him. He probably knew by now he was here. Yi Zifeng smiled. I have Nangong Xiao Dai. I heard he really liked women who are in love with him and the South Peace State 10 beauties. Nangong Fei suddenly yelled. Nangong Fei suddenly yelled. Rumble. An explosion sounded. Yi Zifeng barely released his defense magic artifact but was blasted away. He looked at the dissipated Nangong Fei in shock and realized that even with a body and his essence spirit was bound, a Truth Realization State cultivator wasn't someone a body condensation state could threaten. Yi Zifeng's face changed a few times before having to accept the reality. He cleared the body inside the room and left. Yemo didn't expect Yi Zifeng's person had twisted to this extent. He would do anything necessary to reach his target. Looking at Yi Zifeng leave quickly, Yemo shook his head in contempt. Even if he didn't know this, it was impossible to ambush him with Nangong Xiao Dai. Was Yi Zifeng dumb or arrogant? Just as Nangong Fei said, if he was so easily ambushed, he would have died countless times already. Yemo walked to the only cushion in this room. Yi Zifeng opened it and saw nothing. Yi Zifeng was body condensation state, but he was still used to looking with his eyes. This wasn't a habit that one could easily change. Yemo was much more experienced than Yi Zifeng and scanned with his spirit sense. He saw there was a steetle formation there. From this, Yemo could tell that Nangong Fei was at least a level 9 formation grandmaster. Yemo wasn't surprised. Chu Jiuyu's formation heritage came from the Nangong family. Other people might never get in, but Yemo just spent a few minutes and got in. Inside, he was in this tunnel. There were some formation flags hanging in the air. They looked very plain, but Yemo knew if he wanted to go down he would have to use them. If one just stepped foot or used the wrong formation flag, it would immediately trigger a level 9 attack formation. It didn't affect Yemo much, but if some other cultivator triggered it he would have to await death, even if it was a truth realization state level 9. There was some distance to this tunnel, and although there was spirit sense barrier formation, Yemo's spirit sense could still reach the bottom of the tunnel. There was a layer of black rocks and there was more formation blocking. This was the most secret place Yemo had seen. Even Chu Xiao's seal wasn't this heavily fortified. With Nangong Fei guarding here personally, Yemo felt perhaps the secret that Nangong family cultivators could cultivate so fast was here. But when he saw what was here, was dazed. Even if he saw a level 4 immortal formation or a seal flag, he wouldn't be this shook. When he came to the bottom and broke the trap formation, there was about tens of square km of spirit pond. This wasn't where cultivators cultivated. The spirit ponds were in layers and each layer had countless eggs. Yemo knew most of the eggs here. There was not only spirit-devouring bug but also fire-eating bug and even some soul-devouring bug. Nangong family was a bug cultivation family? Yemo was truly shook. Where did they get all these ferocious bugs? Chu Jiuyu annihilated the fire-eating bug demon. Although he got away eventually, but Yemo knew clearly the hatred between the two. Yet at where Chu Jiuyu lived, there were fire-eating bugs. Even Yemo couldn't understand what was going on. There were so many layers and spirit ponds here. Just how many spirit ranges and spirit items were needed to sustain this? What was the spirit liquid at the bottom of the spirit pond? How could it feed so many spirit bugs? If all these spirit bugs lived, how many would there be? It won't just be 1,000 km, it would be many thousands or even 10,000. Yemo didn't even dare to keep thinking. Unless his heaven flame 9 suns reached 3 or more suns, or he wouldn't be able to completely annihilate them. If the spirit bugs were commanded, he wouldn't be able to annihilate them all even if he had 3 suns. Yemo suddenly thought of the spirit-devouring bugs. He realized they didn't come out for no reason. It was probably related to Nangong Fei. No wonder he cared so much about him, and asked what he was doing. His heaven flame 9 suns was a big counter to Nangong Fei. Seeing all the squirming eggs, Yemo felt disgusted. There was countless sticky liquids everywhere. If all these went out, it would be more catastrophic than the last disaster. Yemo released heaven flame 9 suns without hesitation. 2 purple suns instantly loomed over these spirit ponds. Countless eggs turned to dust. Eventually, all the spirit liquid were roasted dry. Yemo knew the things inside the pond weren't ordinary, but he wasn't interested in checking. The only thing Yemo didn't get was if Nangong Fei let out the spirit-devouring bugs, why didn't he go as well? Why did he choose such a coincidental timing too? After all the spirit bugs and ponds were destroyed, scorched rocks were shown. Yemo scanned his spirit sense around here and immediately found a place that wasn't quite right. He found an incomplete formation. Yemo opened it and found a huge formation heart. There were countless formation flags arranged inside. They were all made with top-grade materials. Yemo took a cold breath in. This was a level 1 immortal formation. This Nangong Fei wasn't a level 9 formation grandmaster, but a level 1 immortal formation master. The main thing was that formation disc in the immortal formation was definitely not from the cultivation realm. Yemo guessed that even that Jin Jinlin wouldn't be able to make it. An incomplete level 1 immortal formation was just to stabilize this formation disc. Yemo felt it was definitely not good if it was stabilized. He even suspected that this was a backup measure for Lu Jingquan to come down. Without hesitation, Yemo took the formation disc and the incomplete immortal formation. He just threw them all at the golden page world and sealed it. But Yemo wasn't happy. If Lu Jingquan could have a second way of coming down, he might have a third. Yemo's guess was right. This formation disc was indeed a backup measure for Lu Jingquan to come down. But Yemo didn't know that even though Lu Jingquan had cultivated countless years in the immortal realm, he only got 2 of these runes to travel from immortal realm to cultivation realm, and this was because he was lucky. After Emo put away the formation disc, he looked around everywhere and didn't find anything else. Then he left the village in a worried mood. He didn't even have any mood to check anywhere else in the Nangong village. He desperately wanted to ascend to the immortal realm and cultivate until he killed Lu Jingquan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to rest easy. Even if he ascends, Mou City was still on Luoyu continent. If Lu Jingquan comes down, there was nothing he could do to protect Mou City. Yemo believed with his time formation disc, he would be able to cultivate very fast if he had resources in the immortal realm. At this moment, Yemo trusted his instinct more and more. He guessed that the village probably didn't have a teleportation formation to the small world before, but his instinct told him he must come here. At this moment, Yemo trusted his instinct more and more. He guessed that the village probably didn't have a teleportation formation to the small world before, but his instinct told him he must come here. Yemo quickly left the village. If he wanted to tear open space, he would have to go Heartless Sea. Otherwise, he didn't know if destabilizing space here would affect South Peace State. As for Yizifeng, after knowing his target was him, he didn't worry about Mou City. He wouldn't give Yizifeng a second chance. No matter what, if Yizifeng dared to attack him again, he would kill him without hesitation. Blue Moon rose rapidly in speed. In just 5 days, Yemo entered the depth of the Heartless Sea. Yemo was planning on going deeper before tearing open space, but a cultivator having divine damnation caught his attention. When Yemo saw this cultivator, his divine damnation was near the end. He was covered in black, but he had passed the divine damnation. The cultivator saw Yemo come over and just changed outfits while waiting. "Brother Yi!" This cultivator saluted with his fists to Yemo politely. Yemo nodded. It was Meng Jin who was chased over to this cultivation round by Fang Yizong. Yemo had some good impression of Meng Jin mainly because he saved Ling Zhongtian. From this, it was clear he was a good-hearted person, or he wouldn't save Ling Zihongtian for no reason. "Brother Meng, I heard you brought the heavily injured Ling Qianbei back." "Yemo, thank you." Yemo saluted with his fists. "You know Dao friend Ling?" Meng Jin asked in confusion, while being shocked that Yemo called Ling Zhongtian Qianbei despite being so much more powerful than him. Yemo smiled. "Ling Zhongtian is the supporting pillar of North Far State and someone I admire. Yemo is very grateful that Brother Meng saved Brother Lin." Meng Jin didn't ask any more. Just when he was about to bid Yemo farewell and ascend to the immortal realm, Yemo said again, "Congratulations on immortal ascension, Brother Meng." Meng Jin smiled. "It's an opportunity of a lifetime for me, but it's very easy for Brother Yi. Last time at West Extreme State, Meng Jin thanked Brother Yi for helping me. I need to tell you, Brother Yi, after you ascend, you need to be careful of that Fang Yizong. His sect is a big sect with a long history. It's called Demon Lin Sect. They definitely have heritage in the immortal realm, be careful." Yemo nodded. He didn't worry. He didn't even ascend to the immortal realm, and he already offended so many people. But he said, "Thank you, Brother Meng. Did you find the person you were looking for?" Meng Jin released his qi and the immortal ascension spirit cloud came over. He shook his head. "No, I was planning to go to South Peace State to look, but I accidentally sensed the immortal ascension divine damnation on the way. I think I wouldn't be able to find Qi or even if I go South Peace State, so I decided to immortal ascension." The spirit cloud brought Meng Jin up. Meng Jin waved his hand. "Brother Yi, we'll meet again in the immortal realm." Seeing this, Yemo had some sudden enlightenment. He sat down where Meng Jin ascended. A day later, Yemo got up. He didn't even cultivate, but he was truth realization state level 9 now. Yemo shook his head. He was very speechless, but this was his 3-birth chant. Later on, even if he didn't cultivate, it would run itself. It wasn't much to begin with. The more powerful his spirit sense became, the more powerful the self-cultivation of 3-birth chant was. Yemo also knew he reached truth realization state level 9 partially because of Meng Jin's immortal ascension spirit cloud. Now that Yemo had decided to ascend to the immortal realm, he didn't mind his powers increasing. He stepped foot in mid-air and burst out his cultivation essence. He didn't even tear the space, but space had begun to distort. Emo knew tearing open space was very hard, so he didn't hold back. He used all of his cultivation essence and ripped in the air. Ever since reaching truth realization state tertiary stage, he rarely used all of his cultivation essence. Emo had some experience in tearing open space. He grabbed the dimension barrier immediately. The rattling space started to distort, space within 1,000 km radius started to destabilize, and this was expanding. This was almost on par with the sea quake before. Emo rejoiced that he didn't do this at South Peace State. As all of Emo's cultivation essence and spirit sense exploded, there was a fissure between his hands, but it instantly healed up again. Emo thought his power should be much higher than Chujioyu, and since Chujioyu could tear open space, he should be fine. But now, he realized he was completely wrong. Emo wasn't going to stop halfway. He burned a mouthful of essence blood and ripped with all his might. Space rattled again, the distortion scared away spirit beast within a 10,000 km radius. An extremely small crack was opened again, but Emo didn't stop there this time. He used cultivation essence even more. The crack grew larger and larger as it made a ear-screeching sound. Emo dashed inside quickly. Emo didn't expect tearing open the void was this hard. It seemed the sea corner was really a sealed-off dimension, and not the void. Emo admired the guy who made break space runes. How did he make such an absurd rune? Emo was thinking of going into the void first, and then find a way out from there. But when Emo flew into the void he tore open, he immediately noticed something was wrong. An extremely dangerous tearing force came charging at his side. Emo twisted and dodged this force without hesitation. But the next moment, two more extremely terrifying power charged at him. If he was smashed by such power, he would be killed for certain and even torn to pieces. This definitely wasn't Void Fissure. Without hesitation, Emo wanted to go into the Golden Page world, but as soon as this thought came up, that power smashed into him. A tearing sensation came and Emo was blasted away by this power, splashing blood everywhere. He felt extremely weak, and just when he was about to enter the Golden Page world again, there was a piercing light. Emo immediately knew he come to another realm. After eating a few pills, Emo went into the Golden Page world to heal. He was certain his method was wrong. Void wasn't torn open like this. He didn't believe Chujioyu was more powerful than him. With his God state body refinement, he was almost killed and couldn't go into Golden Page world. How could Chujioyu dodge that? Chujioyu definitely used another way to tear open the void and get to Earth. Emo went into the Golden Page world and felt scared. After tearing open the dimension barrier, he didn't go into the Void Fissure, nor another realm directly. He flew in a terrifying tearing force for a while. If he didn't have God state body refinement, he would have been killed already. Ignorance was really lethal. Emo had the small sapling in the Golden Page world, but he didn't want to use it. Last time the sapling healed him, it was a little withered. If he used the sapling now, he would recover quickly, but it wasn't good for the sapling. It was too small. Emo felt the sapling would benefit him greatly in the future. Luckily, Emo had some immortal crystals and many top-grade recovery pills. Two days later, Emo recovered by more than half. Only now did he realize how terrifying the tearing wounds were. If it was some other wound, he would have fully recovered already. 2 days later, Emo recovered by more than half. Only now did he realize how terrifying the tearing wounds were. If it was some other wound, he would have fully recovered already. Emo didn't want to stay in the Golden Page world anymore. He desperately wanted to know where he was now. What appeared before Emo was a barren world. There was half soft, half sturdy soil. Was this an abandoned wasteland? Emo got on Blue Moon and quickly left here. He wanted to find someone and know where he was. 5 days later, Emo came back to where he left with a bad face. He realized that where he was now had no life, nor plants. There were no spirit beasts nor even water. All there was this earth and light. Emo was certain this was no cultivation realm or small world. After searching for half a month, Emo was completely disappointed. Emo suspected that he had gone in a ragged world. This world had been destroyed. The only thing that wasn't Earth here was a round pillar in every direction that his spirit sense couldn't scan into. There were 5 altogether. Emo tried to move it into his golden page world, but he couldn't. He couldn't damage the pillars either. After 20 days of trying, Emo realized that he might have really gone into someone's destroyed world. Luckily, this world's owner was dead, or he would be very vulnerable. Emo sighed. He really didn't want to tear space again, but he had to do it, or he wouldn't be able to go out. Just when Emo was prepared to go into his golden page world at any time, and used all his cultivation essence to tear, he was dazed. He couldn't touch the space here at all. In his worry, Emo tried many times, but the reality made him disappointed. He couldn't even sense the dimensional barrier here, much less touch it. Emo couldn't keep calm anymore. He was certain he had entered a realm higher level than cultivation realm. In the next month, Emo ran around like crazy here. Every while, he would try tearing, but he couldn't tear open any place here. Emo realized that this was a sealed-off world, like the sea corner. Like the sea corner? Emo suddenly remembered that Muwuhui said there was a space like the sea corner called the Heaven's Edge. Was this it? But soon Emo ended that thought. He could tear open sea corner, but he couldn't even touch the space barrier here. This definitely wasn't Heaven's Edge. Plus, if one had to tear the void open to go into Heaven's Edge, no one would know about it. 3 months later, Emo had calmed down. There was no use if he continued. It was impossible to go find Mu Xiaoyan now. He wouldn't even be able to get back to MOU City. Luckily, he told them before he left MOU City that he might not go back and just ascend to the immortal realm. The only thing he could do was cultivate to truth realization state peak stage and ascend. If he couldn't even ascend here, he would really have to die of old age here in this barren world. Thus, Emo went into the Golden Page world and started setting up spirit gathering formation. He had about 70 immortal crystals. Luckily, he was Truth Realization State Level 9. It wasn't hard to reach Truth Realization State Peak Stage. He didn't have much immortal crystals left, but he still sued 7 to activate the Time Formation Disc. Emo left 20 and used the other 40 or so to cultivate. Cultivation was timeless, and soon, Emo forgot he was here once he settled his mind into cultivation. The only thing that could accompany Emo was Shadowless. Shadowless seemed to know Emo was in a tricky situation and didn't dare to stay next to the bitter bamboo. It flew far away and left the bitter bamboo completely to Emo. With Emo's current power, his full effort cultivation made the spirit chi inside extreme grade spirit range formed spirit mist, which was devoured by him. If there weren't the immortal crystals here, no matter how many extreme grade spirit range there were, it wouldn't be enough for Emo's cultivation. A few extreme grade spirit ranges were quickly used up in a few years. When the immortal crystals on the Time Formation Disc had been used up, Emo was still cultivating. He was Truth Realization State Level 9 Tertiary Stage, just one step away from Truth Realization State Peak Stage. The Time Formation Disc stopped, and he used up his 40 or so immortal crystals. Emo didn't stop. He just used spirit range to cultivate and didn't use the 20 or so immortal crystals. Another year later, Emo reached Truth Realization State Peak Stage in the pile of spirit ranges. Truth Realization State Peak Stage was something all cultivators pursued, but upon reaching Truth Realization State Peak Stage, Emo didn't rejoice. He was worried he wouldn't be able to sense divine damnation here. If that was the case, there would really be nothing he could do. Emo immediately came out of the Golden Page world. What made him rejoice was that he sensed the divine damnation. Emo breathed easy. He was so scared he wouldn't be able to sense divine damnation here. The only thing he was a little worried about was that the divine damnation didn't even feel as powerful as his hollow spirit state divine damnation. But regardless, he sensed divine damnation. Emo threw out 4 extreme grade spirit range. There were a lot of extreme grade spirit ranges in the Golden Page world, but Emo used them too quickly. He only had 10 left now. Yemo set up spirit gathering formation as quickly as possible and used the three-birth chant like crazy. The first wave of divine damnation came quickly. Rumble. A heavy sound blasted in the air. The colors of the sky didn't change at all. Then, there was a chopstick-sized lightning arc that struck Yemo. Yemo's heart sunk. He had never such immortal ascension divine damnation. The sound was so terrifying, but it was only chopstick-sized. When the second blast sounded and not a single lightning arc fell, Yemo knew things weren't good. He quickly packed up the 4-spirit range and flew to where the divine damnation landed. When the fifth thud sounded, there were finally 3 chopstick-sized lightning arcs that landed on Yemo. Despite its size, it gave Yemo quite some benefits. Yemo didn't have the mood to feel it, however. There was only one thought in his mind: he had to quickly find where the divine damnation landed and use the immortal ascension divine damnation's power to tear open space. Otherwise, he would never get the chance again. He guessed that his immortal ascension divine damnation was probably blocked by this space. Luckily, the laws of this dimension were incomplete and thus couldn't hide his chi. Otherwise, he might really die of old age here. Yemo was right. He didn't fly very far and the 7th lightning arc fell. These were the last 2 arcs. If these 2 disappeared and the space stabilized here again, he would never be able to leave. If he couldn't convert cultivation essence to immortal essence, he wouldn't be able to progress. Even if he cultivated for another 10,000 years, he would still be truth realization state peak stage. So, Yemo was truly desperate. He burned little less than his essence blood and used 5-element mobility with full power, darting towards where the divine damnation came from. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sound grew louder, but Yemo saw the lightning arcs that squeezed in were getting smaller and smaller. When the 9th wave sounded, Yemo flew desperately towards the direction. As the 9th arc was about to end, Yemo ran his cultivation essence like crazy and grabbed at the void barrier here, about to tear it. This effort didn't disappoint Yemo. The space indeed became very unstable here. Yemo touched the dimensional barrier. He used all of his cultivation essence and spirit sense to tear as hard as he could on the 2 sides. This effort didn't disappoint Yemo. The space indeed became very unstable here. Yemo touched the dimensional barrier. He used all of his cultivation essence and spirit sense to tear as hard as he could on the 2 sides. He kept slicing out spirit sense blades too. It didn't matter if it was useful or not. Yemo was like a drowning man grabbing a floating board. The loosened dimensional barrier grew larger and larger, and a rainbow spirit cloud seeped in, swooping Yemo away. Yemo rejoiced. He knew this was immortal ascension spirit cloud. He devoured the immortal spirit chi of the spirit cloud like crazy, trying to recover his power. The after effect of burning essence blood was very serious. So many cultivators didn't want to burn essence blood. It would not only make it hard to cultivate higher, and would also destabilize essence spirit. Yemo rarely burned essence blood, but in order to escape from that sealed dimension, he burned essence blood many times. If he didn't quickly use the spirit cloud to recover, it might affect his cultivation in the immortal realm. Thud. Yemo was thrown on the ground like a sandbag. Immortal spirit chi came. Yemo's heart shook. He knew he really ascended. He happily devoured the immortal spirit chi to nourish his wounds. He didn't even want to crawl up. An injured earth immortal. He's laying here. He doesn't seem to be dead yet. A voice sounded. Yemo heard it clearly. He knew earth immortal was hollow immortal. He scanned with spirit sense. It was 2 cultivators. They were both hollow immortal power. Yemo crawled up with difficulty. He saluted with his fists. Friends, I was hunted here. May I ask where this is? Not right. The cultivator who called Yemo Earth Immortal studied Yemo. You're saying he's not Earth Immortal, he's a truth realization state cultivator, right? He just ascended here? The other cultivator added. The hollow immortal nodded. That's right, he probably just ascended here and didn't go through the Immortal Ascension Palace. The Immortal Ascension Palace or many realms can't take Immortal Ascension cultivators. This can't mean he just ascended, right? The other cultivator asked, but there was some fire in his eyes. The two completely ignored Yemo. Yemo shook his head and released his blue moon. Since these two guys didn't want to answer, he couldn't be bothered asking. Near low-grade immortal artifact, flying magic artifact? This is good. The first hollow immortal stopped Yemo. Yemo frowned and stopped, but he didn't talk. Your cultivation essence is far from being converted to immortal essence. You're a newly ascended cultivator, right? The hollow immortal studied Yemo and asked. Yemo didn't want conflict and nodded. That's right, I just ascended. The two glanced at each other and nodded. Yemo had a bad feeling. He ate a few pills and was ready to fight at any time. You're saying you ascended here and not from the Immortal Ascension Palace? The cultivator's tone became excited. So what? Yemo frowned. Haha, we're really lucky. That hollow immortal laughed and grabbed at Yemo. Yemo was shook. He didn't understand why this cultivator suddenly attacked here. Could one not ascend here? But Yemo didn't expect that. As soon as this hollow immortal reached out his hand, he stopped and struggled to turn back. Sui, you why? Sui pulled out a white spear from the hollow immortal and said coldly, There's only one pocket world, which one of us will get it? Hearing this, Yemo immediately realized. The two knew he had a small world on him. How did this guy know? Was it because he ascended in a place other than the Immortal Ascension Palace? Sui looked coldly at Yemo. Give me the pocket world, I'll leave you a complete body. Yemo sneered, but he didn't attack immediately. He asked, I can do that, but I really want to know how you know I have small world? Hearing this, there was more surprise and joy in Sui's eyes. He didn't explain to Yemo how he knew. His white spear drew a circle and then it flew over at Yemo. Yemo didn't feel the binding of domain at all and sneered. This guy didn't even have domain and wanted to kill him. When he released Zisu and tried to expand his domain, he was dazed. The domain he could extend in the cultivation realm was only a faint shadow here. Not good. Yemo immediately realized that the laws of the world in the immortal realm was much more stronger than the cultivation realm. He couldn't extend his domain now at all. The white spear was before Yemo. Yemo didn't dare to hesitate. He hacked out Zisu with full power. Rumble. There was a huge explosion. If this clash was in the cultivation realm, the space nearby would have been shattered already, but there wasn't even a ripple in space here. The terrifying immortal essence of the white spear came, Zisu almost flew away and Yemo was swept a few hundred meters away. He spat a mouthful of blood before even landing. Sui didn't take the hit too well. He was hacked tens of meters away before stopping. Yemo cursed. If he was at full power, and this guy was underestimating him, he could heavily injure Sui. But his injuries were too heavy, and he still hadn't recovered. Sui didn't expect that he didn't have much of an upper hand in that clash. But he looked at Yemo with more fervent eyes. Clearly, he thought Yemo was this powerful because he had Pocket World. He also liked Yemo's purple kitchen knife. His white spear was his only low-grade immortal artifact, and it was rather good quality amongst low-grade immortal artifact. Yemo's kitchen knife could clash head-on with his spear without being damaged. This meant that the kitchen knife was quite good, at least low-grade immortal artifact. Thinking that if he killed Yemo, the Pocket World and kitchen knife would be his, Xue snarled. He shook his white spear and countless white arrows flew out. They brought howling sounds and surrounded Yemo in all directions. Amidst the white arrow rain, a huge white spear dragon opened his mouth biting at Yemo. Yemo released octagonal cauldron without hesitation. He didn't have enough cultivation essence breakthrough. His spirit sense was very powerful. He also released tens of lightning sword. They were black lightning. Suyi's eyes lit up even more. Yemo had good thing one after another. This octagonal cauldron was also very good. All these good things were in the hands of a truth realization state insect. This truth realization state insect was too lucky. But the next moment, he didn't have the expression of surprise and joy anymore. The lightning sword had completely surrounded the white spear dragon. The spear dragon made a sharp howl. Suyi's face went pale, lightning cultivator? He didn't expect Emo was a lightning cultivator, and had such an absurd lightning cultivation essence. His white spear was this powerful because it contained his essence blood and part of his essence spirit. Such magic artifact feared lightning cultivators the most. Sui knew that even though Yemo's power wasn't as strong as him, but he was countered. Plus, his octagonal cauldron didn't fear his white arrow rain at all. Sui retreated quickly. He let out a flying sword rune. He wanted to find help to kill Yemo. He wasn't going to let such a wealthy cultivator leave. As soon as Sui sent off the rune, Sisu hacked over. Illusion Cloud Domain Kill Strike. He couldn't form his own domain, but he could use the Zisu Sword Force to form a very small sword domain. Even though his range of the domain was reduced, it was still powerful. Sui didn't plan to keep fighting with Yemo. He was ready to release Fireball to burn the body first so others wouldn't be able to tell he did it. But just after he retreated, Zisu hacked over. Xui struck back with his white spear without hesitation. He knew Yemo's cultivation essence wasn't converted to immortal essence, so he wasn't worried. But immediately, he realized that his white spear didn't go as fast as he had thought. It was stopped by Yemo's purple sword chi. Sword domain. Sui just said this and Zisu completely broke him apart. Yet at this moment, his white spear hadn't even touched Zisu. An essence spirit flew out quickly, but Shadowless was ready. How could Yemo let go of hollow immortal essence spirit? Shadowless quickly ate the essence spirit, and Yemo picked up 2 storage ring. Just when Yemo wanted to burn the 2 bodies, there were ripples in space. Yemo immediately knew people came over. He didn't dare to wait at all and disappeared in a dashing light. He sensed space ripples because he learned it for catching corner soul weed. In the cultivation realm before, no one was enough to make him run, so that experience was useless. But now Yemo put it to use. Yemo just left a few seconds and 2 figures landed here. Sui is dead, Mang Rong is killed too, the latter one said and asked his friend. Brother Fan, the cultivator definitely wouldn't be very far, but I'm afraid that person is at least hollow immortal tertiary stage. If we chase, the cultivator said without hesitation. Brother Fan shook his head. Mang Rong wasn't killed by someone else, he was killed by Sui. Sui was killed by someone else. The cultivator looked at Brother Fan in confusion. He really was killed by Sui, but Mang Rong and Sui are the closest. The 2 always grouped together. Why would Sui killed Mang Rong? Brother Fan thought for a moment, and said, I'm very shocked that Sui killed Mang Rong. There can only be 2 reasons for this. 1, both of them found a top-grade treasure. Second, there was conflict between the 2. The other cultivator nodded. Brother Fan, you're right. Mang Rong was ambushed by Sui. Was there something good? Sui killed Mang Rong and was caught by someone else? Brother Fan nodded. Very likely, someone who came later took all the goods. Should we chase? It wasn't long since Sui notified us. That person could kill Sui in such a short time. Would he be golden immortal power? The cultivator asked with uncertainty. Clearly, he was scared he would lose his life chasing that cultivator who killed Sui. Brother Fan shook his head. Impossible. If he was a golden immortal, he wouldn't leave behind Suyi's magic artifact. Suyi's magic artifact is a low-grade immortal artifact. Even a golden immortal wouldn't casually throw it away. The 2 looked at each other and nodded. Brother Fan took Suyi's white spear and then flew rapidly towards the direction Yemo went. Yemo had experienced too much. He wasn't able to confirm if the people behind would be able to chase up to him, so after dashing some distance, he decisively went underground and then into the Golden Page world. A few seconds later, 2 figures landed. The chi disappeared here? Brother Fan frowned and threw out a gray spirit beast. The spirit beast circled around a few times and called. What do we do? The other cultivator asked. Brother Fan hesitated and said, he probably got away. There wouldn't be anything good at Weak Wind Hill, there's no need to waste time here. I heard that goddess Guyen would be coming to Bai Immortal City to celebrate Bai Immortal City's forgery tournament. She would hold a feast inviting all of the cultivators in the city. We can also go get some free Winfeng wine. This is a rare opportunity. The other cultivator heard this and gulped down some saliva before nodding. It's said that Winfeng wine is very delicious and can stabilize essence spirit. I wonder if it's true. I've never drank it before. Neither have I. Let's go. Brother Fan agreed and the two quickly left here. In the Golden Page world, Emo didn't even want to come out and check. He was heavily injured right now and recovery was the most important thing. He opened the 2 storage ring and wasn't very excited. They too even wanted his blue moon, clearly they weren't wealthy. Emo was right, the immortal crystals combined were only about 1,000. There were a few immortal crystals that looked better than the rest. Emo guessed they were middle-grade immortal crystals. As for pills, Emo only found 2 lowest-level immortal pills. The rest were heaven-grade level 9 pills. These 1,000 immortal crystals weren't much for others, but it was a huge fortune for Emo. Emo put 7 immortal crystals into the time formation disk and started recovery and cultivation. Originally, 7 immortal crystals could last a month and it would be about 9 years inside the time formation disk. But when Emo used 3 birth chant at full power, the immortal crystals were being used up rapidly. In a short 3 days, the immortal crystals were used up completely, and it had only been a year or so inside the time formation disk. If this was some other place, Emo's wounds would have healed and he wouldn't keep using time formation disk to cultivate, but this was the immortal realm. He was noticed that he didn't come from Immortal Ascension Palace, and thus was almost killed because his cultivation essence wasn't converted to immortal essence. If Sui worked with his friend, Emo would have had it rough. He knew nothing about the immortal realm, he had no sect heritage nor powerful master. All his achievements were through his own hard work. He still didn't know why his immortal ascension would expose his small world. After thinking for a moment, Emo put 7 middle-grade immortal crystals into the time formation disk. He had to quickly convert his cultivation essence to immortal essence and stabilize his hollow immortal primary stage. Otherwise, if he went out again, he would be caught. Crack. When the last immortal crystals in Emo's hands turned to dust, he found that in a short time he had used 1,000 or so immortal crystals. The 7 middle-grade immortal crystals on the time formation disk were beginning to get dim. Emo estimated they would only last about 3 to 5 days. Emo calculated he had cultivated about 6 years inside the time formation disk. This meant that 7 middle-grade immortal crystals could only last about 20 or so days. It seemed he needed to find top-grade immortal crystals for cultivation. After running his cultivation essence, Emo sighed. He had converted 20% of it to immortal essence. He wouldn't be counted as a cultivator who just ascended. Then, Emo started searching for jade slips inside their storage ring. They just introduced some ordinary places. He didn't have time to look at it before, but now he couldn't cultivate, so he took it out. From that he knew he was at the outskirts of a place called Bai Immortal City. It was a middle-caliber immortal city. It was one of countless immortal cities of Wenju Heaven. Other than the Bai Immortal City, it talked about a place called Lao Shi Swamp the most. It was a place that low cultivators frequently went. Putting it away, Emo came out of his Golden Page world. He wanted to check out Bai Immortal City. He knew too little information. He needed to know where Yuheng Heaven was and some basic things of the immortal realm. It was a small hill area around him. Now Emo realized he didn't know where Bai Immortal City was at all. It was a small hill area around him. Now Emo realized he didn't know where Bai Immortal City was at all. Just when Emo was hesitating which way to go, 3 figures appeared in his spirit sense. They all used extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact. Thinking that he had converted some of his cultivation essence to immortal essence, Emo guessed that these people wouldn't think he was just newly ascended. He released an extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact and rapidly chased over. Emo didn't want to take out Blue Moon again. The three saw Yemo with their spirit sense and stopped. Yemo saluted with his fists. Friends, I'm Yemo. I haven't ascended for long and just came out of Immortal Ascension Palace. I want to go out and find some cultivation resource, but I got lost. May I ask what palsy this is? There were 2 men and 1 woman. They were all Hollow Immortal. The strongest was the short-haired man. He was Hollow Immortal Tertiary Stage. The female cultivator was Hollow Immortal Middle Stage, and the other skinny man was Hollow Immortal Middle Stage. Yemo was only Hollow Immortal Primary Stage. You came from the Immortal Ascension Palace? The female cultivator asked in shock, clearly wondering how Yemo came here. Yemo didn't know how far Immortal Ascension Palace was from here, so he could only say, Yes, I came from Immortal Ascension Palace. I've ascended for 19 years, but I've been wasting these years on searching for a way and finding cultivation realm. My power didn't grow at all. The skinny female cultivator said, The nearest Immortal Ascension Palace in Wenju Heaven is at Immortal City. Even if you don't rest on your extreme grade cultivation artifact, it would take more than 3 decades to fly here. Then she stared at Yemo, clearly thinking he was lying. Yemo didn't expect the nearest Immortal Ascension Palace from here was this far. He could only show Blue Moon. I have a half-immortal artifact. That's why I can get here so quick. Hearing this, the wariness in the female cultivator's eyes went away. She smiled. No wonder you got here so fast. This means you're not that fast. Yemo breathed easy and asked in confusion. Are there more than 1 Immortal Ascension Palace? The female cultivator nodded. Yes, there are 10 in Wenju Heaven. Usually cultivators wouldn't go out of there, they would learn about the immortal realm first. It's very dangerous to go out rashly like you. The newly ascended cultivators are protected in the immortal city of the Immortal Ascension Palace. They can join some powers, but it's not allowed to coerce newly ascended cultivators. Yemo sighed. I saw people go out of the city to look for cultivation resource, so I wanted to go test my luck too. I got lost and flew all the way here. The female cultivator smiled. There are very little cultivators who get lost, but there are some. Usually cultivators would spend a few decades or even 100 years in their Immortal Ascension city to completely convert cultivation essence to immortal essence before leaving. You're really bold. Yemo had a great impression of this female cultivator, seeing her attitude was so nice. He quickly asked, May I ask how far is it from here to Bai Immortal City? I asked a friend before, but he was busy and just told me this place wasn't far from Bai Y. We're going to Bai Y Immortal City. You can come with us. The skinny cultivator said. The female cultivator said, We just came back from Laoshi Swamp. If you need to go out and find cultivation resource, Laoshi Swamp is the best. It's not very dangerous, but you can find a lot. We wouldn't be coming back so quickly if it wasn't that Guyen Goddess is coming to Bai Y City. Yemo pretended to say awkwardly. Last time I went to find cultivation resource, I got lost until now. I've decided to cultivate at Bai City for a while first. Otherwise, I might get lost again. The female cultivator smiled. You won't, it's a very simple direct route from Bai Y Immortal City to Laoshi Swamp. But if you're going, it's best to go in a group. It's very dangerous for you to go alone. The female cultivator looked at the short-haired man and said, Li Heng brother, Yemo just ascended. Let's have him join our squad. We endured the hardship like this before. I think we should help if we can. Li Heng smiled. Of course. Li Heng saluted with his fists to Yemo. I'm Lihen. If you want to join, we can go out to find cultivation resource together. We need 5 people for our squad and we're missing 2. You can join, but if you don't want to, you can still come with us to Bai Immortal City. Then thank you, brother Li Heng. Yemo was troubled he didn't have cultivation resource, and didn't know anything here as well. Now that someone invited him to join, of course he would join without hesitation. Seeing this, the female cultivator smiled. I'm Gao Yuan, that's my brother Gao Hu. She pointed at the skinny cultivator. Yemo didn't expect the 2 were siblings. They were quite capable to be able to find each after immortal ascension at only hollow immortal power. The 4 spoke and everyone got to know each other quickly. Gao Yuan was warm-hearted and talkative. Gao Hu didn't talk much. Li Heng was very mature and humble. The three gave Emo the impression they weren't bad people, and this was why Emo was willing to join. Emo finally couldn't resist his urge and asked, "Brother Li Heng, do all the cultivators of Cultivation Realm must go through Immortal Ascension Palace to come to Immortal Realm?" Li Heng nodded. "I heard some heaven domains' Immortal Ascension laws are broken." Immortal Ascension cultivators might not come from Immortal Ascension Palace, but the cultivators of Wenju Heaven all must come through Immortal Ascension Palace. "So that's it?" Emo answered, not getting the answer he wanted. Luckily, Gao Yuan added, "I heard people say that if you have your own pocket world and have the divine damnation inside, you won't appear in the Immortal Ascension Palace. But pocket world is different to small world. Pocket world is much higher level than small world. Only a world with the complete 5 elements can have divine damnation, or divine damnation wouldn't be able to reach inside." Li Heng smiled. "Gao Yuan, you can really think, even only a few of the powerful beings in the immortal realm would have pocket world. How could the cultivation realm have such thing?" Emo realized. He had his divine damnation in a pocket world and he didn't appear in the Immortal Ascension Palace. Thus Sui guessed he had a pocket world, but little did he know Emo had the Golden Page world. It was on a completely different level to a pocket world. Emo guessed that the 5 pillars were the 5 elements. "Emo, you're really lucky. This time Guyen Goddess is coming to Bai Wai Immortal City. It said she would use Wen Feng Wine to treat all the cultivators Earth Immortal and above. You can make it. Wen Feng Wine is very hard to buy, its price is absurd too," Gao Yuan said. The group kept flaking and soon they were outside the city. Emo's Mou City was the grandest city on the entire Luoyu continent, but when he saw Bai Immortal City, he realized what was truly grand. It soared so high into the clouds that one couldn't see the top. There were 4 golden words flashing in the clouds, Bai Immortal City. Yet, this Bai Immortal City was only an ordinary immortal city in Wenju Heaven. He heard Li Heng and them say Wenju Heaven was low-ranked heaven domain. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.